Uh-oh.
All right. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Um, I just want to thank you all for joining this beautiful session. Um, I would like to start off. Actually, I'm going to pass it over to Sister Kimberly to start off with a morning dua for us, an opening dua, and she'll turn it back over to me. Sister Kimberly?
I'm right here. Assalamu alaikum.
Okay. Walaikum salam.
All right. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. It's a wonderful morning, as Rashida has said, and we can't wait to hear from Halimah DeOliveira and all of her business wisdom she is about to share with us. We'll go ahead and open up with Surah Al-Asr. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر.
Thank you, Sister Kimberly. Excuse me. Alhamdulillah. I just want to welcome everybody to I believe our 9th session of the Boss Women Program. This program has been an amazing program. I'm happy to see all the progress of all the participants, all I think someone has their line unmuted. If you wouldn't mind mute it, we could hear a little background noise, background sound. Thank you so much. But alhamdulillah, I just want to say that it's been a beautiful journey. It's continuing to be a beautiful journey. And part of this journey is our guest speaker today, Halimah. Excuse me, guys, just bear with me. I swear, if I just calm down off the excitement, I can probably control my cough. So it's just, I'm excited. I can't help it. But alhamdulillah, I would say that it is an extreme pleasure to have Sister Halimah here to share her wisdom. I'm just going to tell you all some great things about her. Halimah is a boss woman. Alhamdulillah, she's a boss woman. She's a woman of faith, and she's a business strategist. She is the author of a number of books. She's the author of Not Without My Hijab, which then turned into a screenplay and has traveled all over the US in many places. And I never got a chance to go. And we were hoping that she was going to come to Orlando. And guess what happened? COVID. I'm not saying that it was in the works, but I'm sure, oh man, how bad we all wanted it here in Orlando. I was hopeful that was going to work, but COVID happened. And I'm sure a lot of other people in many states wanted Not Without My Hijab tour in their city too. But rave reviews, awesome play. Anyway, there's a story behind that, and you got to let her tell you that at some point, or you go onto her social media page and you check it out. She has a number of podcasts that she is on. She also is the author of Pray and Grow Rich, excuse me, and Great Women of Islam. These are a few books that I would highly encourage everyone to get. Halimah is also, she is empowering women to build impactful and profitable brands through authenticity, strategy, and community. She is the creator of Build Your Boss program, Build Your Biz Boss program. She is also, she has that's a 15-week program where she is dedicated to helping other entrepreneurs, women of faith, build their business through very intense and focused strategy. She is an amazing person. When I say she's a person of collaboration to ensure that the sisters and the women around her succeed, she doesn't do it just for herself. She makes sure that she is pulling everybody up to the level of success that she know that they can be. Alhamdulillah. She has a business where she helps, or where the focus is to help professional women of faith drive engagement and deepen loyalty with their customers. Her company is called, excuse me, her company is called BeYouInHD, which offers a wide range of consulting services, equipping clients with the necessary tools and resources to help start, sustain, and grow their business or advance their professional careers. The business partner with clients from start to finish, focusing on their needs while producing new ideas, developing effective strategies, and designing high quality and scalable solutions. Our events, the events of the company are curated to help the women they serve holistically in every area of her life, her faith, family, finances, and fitness. The CEO, Halimah, believes it's not enough to teach women how to make money, but also create a lasting effect by knowing the why behind her goals and dreams. So without further ado, welcome Halimah DeOliveira. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Jazakallah khair for that, Sister Rashida. You know, the love in my heart is huge, huge, huge for you. And I'm just so grateful to be here today with all of you. And yes, that Not Without My Hijab story is real. And alhamdulillah, that Not Without My Hijab story happened, because I probably wouldn't be sitting in front of you here today. So I'm grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the journey. And again, grateful to all of you for being here, inshallah. So before we get started, of course, I'm going to I've been introduced, so I don't need, there's no more introduction that needs to happen. So that's me. So I would love to get to know maybe three of you. If you want to go ahead and unmute yourself, tell me your name. I know what city you're in, so you're in Florida, right? So, and then tell me just a little bit about your business, inshallah. And I'm only going to give you 60 seconds. So when you start talking, I'm putting a timer on the clock. And once everyone is done, I'll explain to you why I'm only giving you 60 seconds, inshallah.
I'll start. My name is Sadaf Saeed. I'm the executive director of the Muslim Women's Organization, and we're based here in Central Florida. And we create programs like Boss Women that empower the women of our community and build support and sisterhood for the women in our community, so they always have a welcoming space where they can grow and thrive together.
MashaAllah, beautiful. You still had 30 seconds on the clock. Love it. Who's next?
Hello, I'll go ahead. My name is Fatin, and I have a company called American Butterfly. I just got the license last week, but I've been working on it since 2020. I used to work as a teacher, and now I am running this business. I love to buy. I love shopping. Okay, so what I do is that I go to shops that has like branded clothes and purses and accessories, and I sell them to people overseas, because I came from Saudi Arabia. So people there loves these brands, and they're 4 or 5 times the prices here in America. So I started this business through social media. I'm active in social media, through Snapchat, Instagram. And now the plan is to open a website and to buy wholesale, like they sell in containers. It's a big jump, but I'm preparing for it.
That's time.
Yes, it is time.
Perfect. All right. Great to have you. Jazakallah
Thank
khair.
you. Thank you.
Who's next?
I can go next. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. This is Salma, or Dr. Salma as people know me. I am a physician, and I joined Boss Women to launch my virtual platform for educating Muslim youth and connecting them. It's called Transform and Thrive Community. So TNT Community is to empower and connect Muslim youth with an Islamic-inspired curriculum, but the focus is really personal development and socialization and networking. So I'm excited to be here, and Jazakallah khair for all these women for helping along the journey.
MashaAllah, beautiful. Still had 29 seconds left. So alhamdulillah, Jazakallah khair to the 3 brave souls that went first. so just a quick thing, 60 seconds. So sometimes, have you ever been in an elevator, or have you ever been like at an event and you wanted to tell somebody, about your business? And it was like you had to, tell them in a real quick thing. Maybe it was a person that was running out of a place and you wanted to make sure you introduced yourself. In many cases, you have 60 seconds. So in many cases, you're on an elevator. So think of an elevator pitch is what they call it. You can look it up if you haven't already. And you have 60 seconds to, tell someone about your business, tell someone about yourself, right? You also have to capture them within the first 7 seconds. So this is not a part of today's class, but just something that I would like for you to think about if you haven't already, is to, in the mirror, practice that elevator pitch and time yourself 60 seconds. So the first thing before you start pitching is you actually want to write down everything that your business is about. You want to write down, of course, who you are, who you help, how you help them, why you help them. These are the things that you want to include in that 60-second pitch. Who you are, who you help, how you help them, why you help them. That's the order in 60 seconds. And you want to be able to, in 60 seconds, to get that off. And for those of you that did it in less, great. In that first 7 seconds, you want to capture their attention. So something that you may do in that first 7 seconds is say, you could say, oh, I love your hijab, by the way, or something like that. Or I see you're reading XYZ book. And so I want to, I love that book and this is why. And then go into your pitch. And you're not going to make it robotic. You're going to make it like it's a conversation. So I just wanted to do that little icebreaker and to give you that little tidbit right from the beginning. Another thing that I noticed here on the screen is when your screen is on like that save mode, if you have a business or if you have something that you do, I would recommend that it's your screensaver when you go onto Zoom. So I'm going to stop my video, but I'm still going to talk. So this is my screensaver, right? So it could be your business logo, or it could be something that means something to your business. So I don't know if any of you are following me, but does anyone know, like, has anyone seen this picture before? That's on my screensaver?
Yes.
Okay, where is it? Where else is it?
It's on your book.
On your book.
Exactly. So what is the reason for me having that as my screensaver?
That continuity, that recognition.
Yes, honey. Yes. And there it is. So you see that? All right. Okay, so pay attention throughout this class. There's another thing that I did today that speaks to that continuity, and I'll ask that question at the end, inshallah. All right, so I'm going to share my screen and we will begin today's presentation, inshallah. How is everyone feeling? I pray well, I pray well, I pray well. All right.
Very well.
So, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Yes, yes, yes. All right. So today we're going to be talking about establishing processes and procedures. And just to tee up, when Rashida reached out to me for this, we had quite a few things that we could come up with to talk about. But one of the things that I'm keen on is processes and procedures, and also about knowing your numbers. These are the two areas that are most neglected by business owners, specifically women. And then we tag on that we're women of color, so we may come from different countries, ethnic backgrounds, and then on top of it, we're Muslim. So it's like, it's not about the money. I'm here to serve and I'm here to help. That's great, but we also want your business to stay in business. And so we need to make some money in order for that business to stay in business. So whether you're a nonprofit and you are, getting an influx of donations, or you're a for-profit business and, you're gaining revenue, or you're a hybrid, right? So many of us, especially as Muslims, are hybrid businesses. So there's a component of for-profit and then there's a component of nonprofit, inshallah. So this establishing process and procedures created specifically for all of you that are a part of the MWO Boss Women Entrepreneurship Program. We're going to get started today, and I'm going to talk to you all about processes and procedures. And so just really quickly, I have 25 plus years experience in sales, marketing, and finance for Fortune 500 companies. So that is my background. So when I talk about marketing, I live this. I live this, all right? And then my training and expertise is in brand strategy, marketing, social media, sales, and advertising. So BeYouInHD, as Rashida mentioned, that's specifically what we focus on within the business. And I left my corporate job just 5 years ago, actually. So exactly 5 years ago, BeYouInHD was created almost 6 years ago. So I actually created the business before I left my corporate job. But the reason why I did so is because there weren't enough women out there, that, especially Muslim women, that were training other Muslim women how to start, sustain, or grow their own businesses. And so I worked in finance. So I worked at a bank, and I was one of the people that gave out loans. And a lot of the women that came in got denied for loans. And so, if they met this criteria, we would have to put in different things. And once we put in those different things, it's like you automatically know the person's not going to get approved. And I didn't want to be on that side of the table anymore. I wanted to show women, how do they get approved for these loans? How do they start these businesses? How do they get the capital, inshallah? So that's why I'm here today, inshallah. All right, so for today's discussion, we are going to cover what are business processes and procedures, why we should establish them ASAP. So this is something that you should be working on now. And then what are the short-term and long-term benefits of creating business processes and procedures, where to start, establish process and procedures in 4 steps. And then we're going to create a blueprint. And then at the end, inshallah, I'm going to do a Q&A. So you'll be able to ask any questions that you have. So whether it's pertaining to the content here or a question that you have that is specific to your business, inshallah. Are you ladies ready to get started?
Yes, we are.
Oh, yes.
We're excited.
Bismillah. All right. So what are business processes and procedures? So business processes and procedures. So the first thing is business processes. They are the flow of defined daily activities that connect toward the achievement of a business goal or outcome. On the next page, we're going to go into these further so that I can give you some real world examples and scenarios. Procedure is a prescribed way of undertaking a process or part of a process, a detailed set of instructions, right? Also included in this, or maybe you may find it along with business processes and procedures when you look it up, are policies, right? So every business should also have policies that they have in place for many different reasons. So policies may also be included with this step. So the quality of the product and service, that's written somewhere. So, somewhere, so I'm wearing a clothing brand. So in their policies, it says that when you buy a size large, these are the parameters of that size. That's a policy. So when they go to their vendor or their employee and they're making the size, they have to stay within those guidelines because the customer is looking for that specific quality. So when they come to, buy that size large or whatever it is, they know that it's going to fit because of the quality of the brand, and the brand has communicated that this is the size that you can count on. Health and safety. So if you have a storage unit, if you have an office space, if you have a production plant or something like that, health and safety is extremely important. You have to make sure that your employees have goggles, your employees have gloves. All of that are process, policies, and procedures. All of that is listed under those things. Code of conduct. So certain things that, shouldn't be said, in, meetings, what is it? The training that they take, sexual harassment training, like that is done every 6 months at most companies, depending on what their policies are. So all of these things you want to make sure that you are laying the groundwork for, depending on what it is that you are doing. We're going to talk about solo entrepreneurship in a moment, but just because you're a solo entrepreneur does not mean that you shouldn't have these process, procedures, and policies in place. And when you're a solo entrepreneur, you may come across things and you may have to build upon them as you go, right? So, but just making sure that you're keeping in mind that when you create your business process and procedures and your policies, that is laying the framework, but it is something that you're going to have to revisit along the way. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. Perfect.
Definitely.
Another thing, and this is something to keep in mind as you're building your business today, it's not something that was necessarily a focus, years ago, but it is definitely a focus now. And we have millennials to thank for that. So corporate social responsibility. And so basically that means is how does your business affect society? How does it affect the community that you serve or that buys your product, et cetera? So you'll see Tory Burch is the perfect example. I don't know if anyone shops with Tory Burch, but she is one of the brands that I actually love. And I love because inside of her framework, yes, she's selling all of these bags and shoes and clothes, and we love it. But also incorporating into that, she has an entire women's program. Make sure that you go and check that out. She sometimes has grants available. She sometimes has other opportunities available. It's called the Tory Burch Foundation. You can look that up. And even when you go to her website, it's actually a link that you can click. And so part of her corporate social responsibility is that she is serving the women that buy her products, right? So she's not only, you're not only looking good, but she's also making sure that, she gives you some tools and resources that help you make the money so you can come back and buy her products. I think it's genius. All right. So corporate social responsibility, make sure that that is something that you are incorporating into your framework. So, what are the causes that you support? Maybe, it's cancer research. Maybe it's, building water wells. Maybe it's women's education. Whatever it is, make sure that you're incorporating it into your policies, processes, and procedures, inshallah. All right. So as promised, here are the examples. So business process example. So business processes happen at every level of a business and include what the customer sees and doesn't see. So when you get an order, so I get an order for a book, right? And what the customer sees is they see that they've ordered the book and they receive an email saying, thank you so much for your purchase. Look for your, tracking number to come soon, right? That's what the customer sees. What they don't see is me signing the book. They don't see me, going over to the printer and printing the label. They don't see me putting it into the packaging. They don't see me putting that label on the packaging. They don't see me, scheduling the USPS pickup. They don't see any of those things, but that is a process. So you see how something as simple as how I package this book to get ready for shipping is a process. You see that? It's so when you think the first thing we hear when we hear policies, processes, and procedures is, I don't know what I'm doing, right? No, policies, processes, and procedures are there to help you, right? So they're there to help you. So how many of you are going into business, but with the hope or the prayer that you are going to be able to pass this on to your children or pass this on to a family member? Anybody? That this business will be around long enough that you can pass it on, or even community?
Yes.
Right. Perfect. Okay. The way that you are able to pass that on to your family, to your relatives, to the community is through policies, processes, and procedures. Policies, processes, and procedures lay the foundation and the blueprint for someone to walk right up to XYZ business, go to the manual, and know exactly how to do something. So that's what policies and procedures simplified. Okay, someone's hand is raised. You take yourself off mute if you want to. Okay. All right, so example, receiving orders. So I just gave you that example. Invoicing. So someone, books me for my services or books you for your services. What they don't see is that you are sitting there and creating the invoice, or you have an assistant that is creating the invoice for you. Shipping products. So the actual, in the beginning, you may be going to the post office yourself and, shipping the products. Updating employee information, setting a marketing budget, right? So knowing how much money money am I going to spend on marketing? And then exactly what it is that you're going to do. They don't see any of that. They just go to your social media page and go, hey, I like the way this looks, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All right. Now, moving over to procedures. So business procedure examples may also be referred to as standard operating procedures. You may have heard this before. When this happens, then this happens. So one of my clients is a mosque, and I've been working with them for a little under a year, and we are currently working on their standard operating procedures. What does a standard operating procedure look like for a mosque? So basically, the leadership, the imam and his wife of this particular mosque, right? So they come across a couple that is having some type of marital concern, right? So what they're doing is, as they are, looking up, how to help them with their concern, maybe it's a hadith, maybe it's some type of, fiqh that they have to look, some type of something that they have to look up, right? Instead of them just looking that up for this one couple, and then that's it. Okay, alhamdulillah, your problem is resolved, or your concern is resolved. Alhamdulillah, shukran, right? No. They're actually recording everything that they are doing for this couple. So what hadith did we use? What ruling did we use for this? Or what thing did we do for this? And step by step by step, that becomes a procedure. So when someone else comes, perfect example. So that book, Great Women of Islam, this is not my book, but I do sell it on my website. So this was written by Mahmoud Ahmed Ghadanfar, but I believe in it so much that I order these every single quarter, about 100 copies, and I have them on my website. Every woman, every girl should have this book. So inside of this book, so you have Salama, right? So she was knowledgeable in fiqh, right? So people would come to her and they would say, okay, this is my particular scenario. And so she would go back to, the way that the Prophet ﷺ handled this particular scenario. So she would go through her Rolodex of hadith that she had memorized, and she would say, okay, this is how the Prophet ﷺ handled it. So this is how we're going to handle it. That is a standard operating procedure. Makes sense? All right, beautiful. So perfect. So a blueprint to follow for specific scenarios that achieve consistent results. And so that result may be giving that advice, or that result may be when you want to acquire a new client, you do this, you do this, you do this, right? From step 1 through step 3. That's what you do. And that's how we acquire new clients. A new team member comes on board. New team member comes on board. They go through the interview process. They go through the second interview process. Okay, now they're a new hire. Now there's a new hire checklist that you go through, and you make sure that everything that's on that new hire checklist is complete. They have to go through that sexual harassment training that we talked about before. Every new hire, when you go to a company, goes through that training. Whatever that looks like, make sure that you have that new hire checklist, or new team member. Make sure you have a checklist for new clients. How do you go about acquiring a new client? Once they come on, what are the steps that you do and what happens, right? New product launch plan. So many of you are either already, have already launched your first product, but maybe you're going to launch the next one, or some of you are just getting started and going to launch a new product. While you are creating the launch plan for that, you're going to write that down somewhere and be able to come back to it later. So when you go to launch the next thing, you're going to look at, okay, the new product launch plan that I did for XYZ product, this is how it did. I need to tweak this. I need to tweak this. I need to tweak this. And then you go back, you tweak that thing, you go and launch. Say if you have a seamless launch, everything is perfect. What do you think you should do with that launch plan?
Lock it in and replicate it every time.
Every single time. Keep doing it until it doesn't hit.
Yes, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Keep doing the exact same thing until it doesn't hit anymore. All right. And then you go back and you revise it. Okay. So collateral and content creation. So I heard one of the sisters, she talked about her business and she talked about she's heavy on social media. Did you know that you should write down your procedure for how you go and how you show up online? Did you know that this is something that you should plan out? And the reason why you plan it out is so it's not a haphazard thing. You're not running from here to here to here to here. My advice is to have your content laid out for 30 days minimum. At 30 days at a time, I know exactly what I'm going to post from the 1st to the 30th of the month, right? And so making sure that you have that, that's a procedure. So your procedure is on the 15th of the month, I start my plan for the next month, and I sit down with the plan and I sit there with my 30-day calendar, or 31 days, depending, or 28, right? And I mark out, okay, this is what I'm going to be doing. Some really, really, really great ways for you to do that. I'm a fan of, paper and calendars, so you can do it that way, or you can do what I do for my clients, which is we plan it out on an actual app. So my favorite apps for my clients are Planoly. That's spelled Planoly. And it allows you to see a 30-day calendar and start to input the content that you want to create. For example, if I want to do a reel or I want to do a video, you cannot automatically post a reel or a video, but you can put a space holder that has that on Sunday at 1 p.m., I'm going to post a reel. You can pre-write the caption and just have, written in letters reel, and then have that saved. So at 1 o'clock, you'll get a notification. Hey, Halimah, you need to post that reel. You can copy that caption and then you can go about your business. Makes it easy, makes it seamless. You're not getting sucked in to what do they call it? The rabbit hole, the social media rabbit hole. You looked at 14 different things. I didn't come on here for that, right? So that's a great way to come out of that. That is a procedure. So here's another thing, and I'll talk about some brands that are out there, right? So you have brands like Haute Hijab is the one that I'm going to use. And I'm going to use Haute Hijab because I have been around this sister. We actually go to the same mosque together. So Melanie, who is the CEO of Haute Hijab, that woman runs that business. She really does. Mashallah, I've never seen anything like it. And one of the things that she did, I want to say maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, is she passed on everything that she was doing by herself on social media and in her business. She hired a team and she passed it on to them. And she just became the face of the brand. All she was doing was taking the beautiful pictures. She didn't have to do any of the other stuff. She didn't have to go live. She didn't have to post on the page. She didn't have to do anything there. She just had to submit her pictures and her team did the rest. And the beauty of that is it freed her up to do other things, to grow something else. We are going to talk a little bit about that later. That only could happen because she wrote down the standard operating procedures. And we're going to go into this in a little bit more depth, but basically what that means is she wrote down, when you post, the picture has to be of this quality. When I do a long post and I post like this, it has to be in these specific dimensions. Maybe, I don't know if she uses a filter, but if she did, you can only post it in this type of filter. When you write the caption itself, right, you need to make sure that the caption hits, it's only 3 lines and whatever else the case may be. That is a procedure. And basically what both processes and procedures do, and I'm going to reiterate it again, is allow someone else to walk up to your business, open up your processes, procedures, and policies book, and be able to flip to any page and complete the task, whatever it is on that page. That's what this allows you to do, and that's why it's so important. KPIs, analytical reports, or analytic reports, and more. So KPIs are key performance indicators. So key performance indicators can mean a lot of different things. Key performance indicators can be sales. Key performance indicators can be your insights on your social media page. When I posted this video, I got this many hits to my website. When I posted this video, I received 10 purchases. et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All right. So that falls under procedures specifically. Any questions here? Did I lose anybody?
No, but I will add that,
Yes.
you know, as you were talking about just now, the KPIs, and for people that's in certain businesses and stuff, I wonder, I mean, that's a key thing, to even look at your social media hits or things that you post as a KPI, you know. And I gotta say that didn't even cross my mind, even being in retail myself for so many years. You think of it as in just a certain type of field, or certain type of, like, the number of actual things that you sell, you know, or certain items that you sell. But when you can really dive into your KPIs in that way, I think that's huge, and that's very eye-opening.
Mashallah. And I'm gonna add you one on that. So this is something that recently came out with Facebook. They have it drilled down to exactly which post got you the specific sale. And literally the report comes up, you go up. And so just so you know, Facebook and Instagram are connected together. So when you go to your Facebook business dashboard, right, you can actually see, I posted this post on Instagram and this is what it did. I posted this post on Facebook and this is what it did. So on your dashboard, it'll show you whether it was Instagram, whether it came from Instagram or it came from Facebook. To the dollar, it actually tells you how much you made on a specific post, to the dollar. Plain as, like, as you're seeing this screen right here, processes and procedures, this report comes up on Facebook. You can access it and it tells you exactly, you made $30 off of this post. And it'll tell you the time. It's unbelievable. This is new though. So this is 2022, maybe end of 2021, 2022 new, but that dashboard does exist. It's unbelievable. So when people say social media, nah, I'll just say no, don't be those people. And remember, use social media, don't allow it to use you. Okay, so keep that in the back of your mind, inshallah. Okay, so business readiness check. So I put this title here because I wanted you to understand that without policies, processes, and procedures, your business is not ready. That's how important this is. So your business readiness comes with the establishment of these processes, policies, and procedures. And this is why it's important for us to establish this as soon as possible, all right? So processes and procedures hold us accountable. Process and procedures, I'll give you a perfect example. One of my clients, so when a customer places an order and it ships to them, and say USPS damages their package, right? Before I came along, she would just replace it. So whether they damage the package or it's a loss missing, that kind of thing. So if, you know, USPS damaged it, she would just replace it, but she would not go over to USPS and be like, hey, you damaged my package, right? That's a process. That's a procedure, right? So she needs to go back to USPS and go get her money, right? In some cases, these orders are $100 or more for her specific product. So there needs to be some type of, you know, process or procedure in place to go do that. So, so part of my, one of my services is there's a team member that handles all of her customer service issues, right? And so this customer service person goes over, and whatever the scenario is for that customer, if it's a lost or missing package, there is a claim that is placed with USPS, not a replacement. Why are we not issuing the replacement immediately? Why are we not doing that? I'll give you the answer. So we're not doing that because she could lose money. So there were times where she would replace a package, the package would get to the customer, and then a few days later, the package that was reported lost or missing gets to the customer. So now the customer has two packages. And this particular business, at the height of their business, moving from a six-figure business to $1 million business, it was in the middle of COVID. This person, they were selling health and beauty products. They didn't want those products back. Right. So they didn't want that customer shipping those products back to them, right, in the middle of COVID. We don't know what happened to these products or anything like that. A process and procedure holds us accountable to do the exact same thing every single time. And the beauty of that is it also trains the customer and trains the customer to understand that there are two people in the waiting room. Do you want me to admit them? So
I got it. I'm sorry.
perfect. No worries. So what this, having this process or procedure in place for when, a package is lost or stolen, or when a package is, they don't have it, it's missing, right? Keeps them accountable to do the exact same thing and trains the customer. So now the customer knows, if my package is lost or stolen or missing, this is what XYZ company is going to do. They provide a blueprint and a foundation for us to go back to when obstacles and challenges arise. I'll use the same business as an example. At the height of COVID, this particular business was doing 1,600 to 2,000 orders a month. I'm going to repeat that. This particular business was doing 1,600 to 2,000 orders a month. And these orders were, for sometimes 4 to 8 products were in a specific order. Imagine all of the packages that so the more you send out, the more issues that you may get, the more concerns that may happen. Imagine if this business was just resending out all of the packages when a customer said, I didn't receive it. How much money would they lose by just shipping out the new package? All right. But by having these processes and procedures in place when obstacles and challenges. So a challenge is this business was growing exponentially in a short amount of time. So they needed a background team that was overseeing, again, a process and procedure. They needed this background team that was communicating with the customers who had concerns so that they could be in the business of producing the product and shipping the products out. All right. They ensure we are compliant with any laws and regulations. I'll give you another scenario, right? So this particular business, the way that they dispose of the plastic containers that they use, right? There's a way that they need to do that. They can't just throw those out. They have to have a recycling program. This is something that we had to put into place. When the containers, when you're finished with the containers, what do you do with them, right? And depending on your business, it may be something else. A law and regulation, are any of you using teens as your employees? There's a certain amount of hours they can work. There's a certain time that they can't work past or start, right? So they can't have a start time of a certain hour and they can't have an end time of a certain hour. If you get caught, you're in violation. So processes and procedures keep you compliant with any laws and regulations. They also hold us and our employees accountable. So the perfect example is, okay, I'll use this scenario again. So the way that a person packs, an order. So a person packs an order, and in order for the product not to be damaged, the person needs to put installation in the bottom. Then the person unpacks the products a certain way. Then the person puts the additional installation on top and on the sides, right? Then on top of that, there's a little card that goes in, a thank you card that goes in the box. That's a process. That's a procedure. And why are they doing that? One, it reduces the amount of times that there's a damaged package or a leaky package in this particular scenario. It also speaks to the quality that a customer is going to receive. So one of the things on this particular social media page, with the introduction of these thank you cards, the customer's like, oh man, this business really cares about me. They put this thank you note in every single package. And when they open that package, they look for that little thank you card. They look for the way that the packaging is packed. And when you go over to this particular business's social media page, in their stories, you'll see people showcasing how they unbox. So now, businesses have this unboxing thing that they do. And so customers are showing you, hey, how am I unboxing this particular product? That is a process and procedure. So this particular business at the time had 2 employees in addition to the other 4 employees. So a total of 6 employees that were packaging products. No matter who packaged that product, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. You know why? Because they were following the process and procedure to pack a package. All right. So something as simple as packing a package can make the difference of a customer staying with you or a customer leaving. You missed that thank you card one time, and that customer's like, well, you didn't put a thank you card in my box. And some people be like, well, who cares? That's not, it is, it's a thing. It's a thing. All right. So once you've created that quality, once you've created that expectation, your customers are looking for that. And same with your employees. So once you set precedent of a thing for your employees, you have to keep it up. And if it's not something you can keep up, you need to communicate that. I'll give you a perfect example. So I worked for Verizon for a number of years. And one of the things that they did is they had it was like an event at the end of the year, and they awarded the top 10% of sales professionals in the company. They awarded them awards. So it meant that you were able to travel and go to wherever it was that they had it. So sometimes they had it, away, like in Hawaii. Other times they had it and it was local or whatever the case may be, right? But either way, this was something that they had. So imagine, they've been doing this for a number of years. I was with Verizon for almost 10 years. And, imagine if in my 10th year, I've been getting that award for all 9 years. And then all of a sudden in the 10th year, they don't do the program, right? And, they stopped doing it, but they didn't tell me. I would be extremely disappointed. And I would be like, well, wait a minute, this is something that I look forward to every year. I worked so hard during the year and I met all my KPIs, right? And I look forward to this trip, and now you're not going to do it. So make sure that you're doing the same thing with your employees, because they come to expect these things. Establishing process and procedures also allows you to clearly see any breakdowns or identify problems in your process and procedures. I give you an example. So same company packaging these products, right? So something that they implemented was a stamp for each employee. So when they packaged the order and then they put the receipt before they put it in the box, they had to stamp the stamp, saying that the order was packed. So the stamp was different colors for each particular employee. So the way that you were able to identify problems with this particular company is, say if a person put the wrong item in a customer's order, and then the customer, calls or emails and says, hey, I got the wrong item in my order. What are we asking the customer to send us? We're asking them to send us a picture of the invoice and a picture of the inside of the box. Why are we doing that?
Identify the person.
Okay, so we're not bringing the whole team, 6 people. We're not bringing 6 people into the room. You messed up an order to all 6 of the people. The other 5 are like, it wasn't me, right? The one who did it is like, doesn't even know it's them, right? Because it's a general thing. There's nothing to do. So now we look at that stamp. Oh, it was the red stamp. That was Michelle, right? So now we're not communicating this to the whole team. Michelle messed up, right? We're bringing Michelle in and we're saying, this order here, the items were switched, or this order here was missing the item completely. So allows you to clearly see any breakdowns or identify problems in your process and procedures. And so the conversation with Michelle is, why do you think that happened, right? And how can we prevent it in the future, right? So next time she goes to package an order, she's more careful as to how she packages the customer's order. All right. And then that again goes back to the quality and improves the quality, right? So builds a strong business culture when an employee knows what they should do, how they should do it, when they should do it. And guess what? Everyone wins. All right. So processes and procedures let an employee know exactly what they should be doing, how they should be doing it, all that good stuff. And then when you add on policies let you know, you can do this, but you better not do this over here, right? So, perfect example is, working, in finance. So, there were certain things that I couldn't say. So when I was in the banking, industry, there were certain things that I couldn't say to customers. I wanted to show a woman, how do you get around this, part of the loan application? Or what's the best way to answer this question so you're approved for the loan? But as an employee, I signed that I wasn't able to do that. So as much as, I wanted to do that, I couldn't, right? All right. Any questions here? All right. Okay, so I'm also going to give you what process. Does someone have a question?
Yeah, I was just wondering, is there, and I'm sure there, there's plenty of checklists out there, but do you have any guidance as to, I mean, as you're talking and making notes and thinking, my brain's going, but is there a standard checklist we can get through to make sure we've hit all of these points?
I'm going to give it to you.
Awesome.
Towards the end. Yeah,
Jazakallah
you'll be able to take a
khair.
screenshot of it, and we're actually going to create one. So here's the thing with a general one. So a general one, of course, just gives you the general, and that's what I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you what you would expect to see in a processes and procedures, checklist. And then what's going to happen is you're going to start there. That's where you're going to start. But then your business is different from the woman next to you, and then her business is different from the woman that's on the other side of her, right? So you are going to develop process and procedures that are specific to your business, all right? But we are going to do that. That's the activity, the big activity for today, all right? We're going to spend 15 minutes doing that, inshallah. Okay, so processes and procedures in the short term, right? They allow you to onboard employees and clients quickly. So going back to that scenario of, let's say, social media and onboarding a client. So one of the things that I'll give you my specific scenario, I know every single time I go live, I get XYZ number of followers. Every single time I go live, I get a certain amount of orders from people that order from me. Every single time I go live, I get questions in my DM asking me what I just talked about on my live, or asking them to, asking me to help them with their specific scenario. So I know that I need to go live a certain amount of time. So I go live at least once a week, talking about a specific topic. And I'm consistent with doing that because I know what the results are that happen. So all of those activities, all of those things that I said are lead generating activities. So processes and procedures help you to create leads for your business. So whether you sell a product or you sell a service or you're a nonprofit, you need leads in order to be able to continue. Right? So you need to constantly be talking to new people in order for you to be able to create leads. So in order to onboard these clients, inshallah. So basically, what does that look like? So what does it look like onboarding a client? I just said it to you, right? So it's a lead. And so maybe what I'll say to that person in the DM, I don't have the answer for you, but you may want to go and check Fulana's page, right? And so what that does is now I'm seen as a helper. And so now that person is going to continue to follow me to see how they can support me in the future, right? So whether it's a like, whether it's whatever, they're going to come back and support me because I help them, right? So even though I'm sending them away because that's not my area of expertise, I'm still adding value to them because I gave them the resource that they needed. In other cases, I may say to them, a person may ask me, hey, Halimah, I'm starting a business and I want to do this. And, I'm interested in a consultation. I may say, yes, go for it. Click that consultation. Or I may say, I don't think a consultation is the best thing for you. Maybe you come over to my 15-week program, or maybe you come over to the Boss Women's program if you are in Orlando, Florida, right? That's something that may happen, in the DM. I think you need time. I think you need that hands-on, that hand holding to be able to start your business. I recommend going over to, the MWO and the Boss Women's Entrepreneur Program, right? That's a real thing. And so that's the process of onboarding a client. So the client, I talk to them on live, then the follow-up is, hey, DM me. And then once they DM me, then the conversation goes from there. Maybe I tell them to go over to my website and sign up for the email list. I send out a weekly email and it includes XYZ. All right. Onboarding an employee. So we talked about this scenario before. So what would happen is, so this particular company that I talked about with the I believe it's 6 employees that they had, right? How they onboarded those last two that do the shipping and the packaging, how they onboarded them is they actually wrote down what this particular type of employee, so I believe their job title is called a packer. And so they actually wrote down what are the characteristics of a person that we would hire as a packer. They knew exactly, they needed this person to be bubbly. They needed this person to be a self-starter. They wrote all of these things down. Then they actually wrote down the job description, exactly what they would be doing, etc. Not too long after they wrote down all of that, they were able to hire these two employees that are magnificent, by the way. These two young ladies are absolutely amazing. That process and procedure, aka procedures, allowed them to onboard employees quickly. They needed those employees like they needed, listen, anything. All right. They need, because they were in the middle, they were at the height of the pandemic, COVID, and the orders were through the roof because everyone was home. Like I said, they were doing, anywhere from 1,600 or so to 2,000 orders a month. And so they needed the help. 4 people wasn't going to cut it. They needed those 2 extra people. All right. Also reduces downtime. So policies and procedures and processes may say your lunch is 15 minutes, right? Or not lunch, your break is 15 minutes, your lunch is 30 minutes, or your lunch is an hour. That's a process or procedure or a policy, right? So if that's the case, a person that is over that 15 minutes, what should they be doing? They should be back at their desk working, or they should be back to work, right? So that is something that you want to have down, because you may run into a scenario where a person overextends their lunch and continuously does it. That's not helping your business, and that's not good for productivity, right? You may also find policies, so especially HR, having something in place where how many vacations can an employee take in a year, and is it paid, or what does that look like? And these are policies, this specific scenario. And then, so, also a policy may be, paid maternity leave, or you get this amount, it's not paid, but you get this amount of time off for maternity leave. You want to take care of the employee, but you also want to keep the business in mind. All right. Consistency creates stability for employees, as well as know, like, and trust factor with customers. So when an employee sees you do the same consistency, you see your boss consistently doing this, or you see a fellow employee consistently doing this, it allows you to do the same. Going on social media, going back to that scenario, going every single week, make sure that I go live every single week. Guess what? My audience looks for me to do a thing. Every single Friday, I have Halimah's Friday Reflection. Without fail, Halimah's Friday Reflection is there every single Friday. Why do I do that? I do that to create that know, like, and trust factor with my customers. They know exactly what to expect from me, and people look for that Friday reflection, and you'll see a comment, or someone will send me an inbox, etc. All right. All right. And that's short term. Here are the long-term benefits of processes and procedures. So they increase employee productivity. So talking about that scenario, not taking excessive lunch breaks or whatever they may be, right? So they increase employees' productivity and business revenue. So the more productive an employee is, the higher the revenue. Going back to this specific scenario. So the faster an employee can package, so the more consistent they become and they follow the process clearly, they'll get faster at packaging an order. That means that they can handle more orders. And so because they can handle more orders, now the business can turn on the green light and say, hey, we need more customers, right? So maybe there's an ad out there to bring in more customers. Maybe they go live, instead of going live every other day, maybe they go live every day. So now it turns on that switch. We need more customers, or we want more customers, because now the team can handle more customers. We literally did this with a particular business where we tested how well, their team could handle a large influx of orders. And so we did a sale for this particular business. And so we said, for this particular event, we want to do 400 minimum orders, and this is the amount of money that we want to make. The team hit it with flying colors. So that let us know in a 2 or 3 day span, this team can handle 400 orders. Because they can do that, now we're turning it on so that we can handle more orders. So we're going to create more products so we can get more orders, inshallah. Okay, procedures are tried and tested so you know they work. Frees up time to produce and scale, etc. Literally just the scenario that I talked about. So now the procedure, the way that they pack these orders is tried and tested. They're great at it. No mistakes. They're good to go. We can do 400 orders in a couple of days, right? And then this frees up the time for the business to now go live, maybe put ads out there, and they can scale their business. This particular business that I've been talking about for a little while, they went from a $1 million business in 2020 and a little over $1 million in 2021. They hit 2 million in 2021. This is 2022. At the end of the year, December 31st, they were at 2 million. So 2020, they did $1 million. A little over $1 million the year before they hit their first million. So yes, I've been with them for 3 years. So that's how they were able to do it. They were able to do it because they were able to now scale. So the owners of the business were now able to focus on leads and acquiring new customers, and they were able to get that done while the employees took care of the packaging, making the products, etc. It also reduces risk and improves quality. And so we talked about that scenario earlier. So a risk is having to ship out orders where mistakes happen, where an item was missing or they shipped the wrong merchandise. All right. How does everyone feel? Pulse check.
Doing good.
All right. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Okay. All right. So where to start? So where do you start with getting your policies and procedures together? So I love the question that the sister asked earlier is there a sample of how I can do this? The first place to start with policies and with processes and procedures are looking to like businesses, AKA competitors. And I use the word competitors very loosely because competitors increase our competence. And basically what that means is you see a sister business doing exactly what, the same, they're in the same business as you, and you see them doing XYZ and they're getting, amazing results. What does that do for you? It should not make you feel jealous or make you mad that, oh, she's doing better than me. It should actually make you say, ooh, okay, that's working for her. So let me go over and look at what I'm doing and how can I either get to her level or expand upon that. And that's what I just gave you over here. So don't reinvent the wheel. If you see another business that's a sister business to yours and they're doing amazing, what's working for them? Adopt what's working in your business. And then also look to these businesses and look to what's not working for them and then improve on what's not working. And it gives you the competitive advantage. So I just said that in a nutshell. I'm going to give you a perfect example. So there is a brand that is selling, and this is not a real scenario, but a brand that's selling hijabs for $5, right? And so this scenario is twofold. So the positive of her selling the hijabs for $5 is it gets people looking at her site at the hijabs, and then she sells clothes too. So it may get them to go over and look at her, clothes as well. That's a process, right? So the lead generator is the cheap, hijab price, right? But the goal is to get them over to the higher ticket item, which are like her dresses and everything like that, right? That's a positive side because it leads them over. The negative side is she's actually losing money by having the hijabs at $5. So say if she's not marketing the dresses or marketing the higher ticket items, say if that's the scenario, she's creating these orders and maybe a person purchases 10 or 15, but she doesn't make any money off of those hijabs. So the issue with that is that she's not making any money. So she's spinning her wheels. So she's spending her time packaging these orders for the $5 hijabs, but they're not giving her a return on her investment. So a process or procedure that she should put in place is to make sure that when she's marketing it, she says, when you buy XYZ dress, make sure you match it with the XYZ hijab. Do the reverse. Don't do, hey, come get the $5 hijab. And by the way, we have these dresses. Say, hey, we have, this is the dress that we carry. And this is the hijab that matches, and never mention price. So that's something that, so again, you looked over to her business, and the $5 scenario is getting people over to her site, but you may improve upon it and say, okay, the $5 is working, but what's not working is she's not making any money off those $5 hijabs because she's only selling the hijabs. So you would improve upon that and then have the competitive advantage. Make sense? Right. Okay. So now establish process in 4 steps. So you can take a screenshot of this particular screen, and then we're going to review it, inshallah. All right. So the first thing is to take inventory, create a list of what needs to be done in your business. You will need a process for each. First thing, I'll give you an example, a business needs to do is to communicate with its customer or bring in those leads to the customer. First thing I think about is email lists, and I think about social media. So I think about, how am I communicating with my customer? Another thing that you can include is maybe an event, right? So maybe you're doing live events. So how do I put on an event? What is the process for that? I'll tell you, when I first started, all I did was events. I did 48 events in 2017 while still working my full-time job. FYI. 48. Okay. So on the weekend, I was busy, and sometimes during the week. But anyway, so my process was, I need this amount of events and I need this amount of people to attend the event, because when they attend the event, this is what happens. So I was able to replace my full-time income by having these events. So whether they were business or whether they were spiritual events, books, I had book signings, all kinds of stuff. And I was able to replace my full-time income every single month by hosting these events. So I knew I needed to host 4 events every single month minimum, right? And then on top of that, I needed to make XYZ amount per event for me to be able to replace my income every single month. So that was the minimum. All right, makes sense? So create a list of what needs to be done. You need to send out emails. Who's going to do that? If it's you, when are you going to sit down and write these emails? How will they get disseminated to your audience, et cetera, right? A new employee can, so again, going back to the scenario, they can open up this book, and I recommend, I believe it's a 2-inch binder from Staples. You can buy it. And literally, you want to create tabs. I literally have this. So you want to create tabs, and you want to label them. And as you add things on, put them in there. And they have these, they're called sheet savers, and they allow you to save the sheets. And so basically you put, okay, this is the process for this. Have a tab, put the policy in there. Maybe it's written on some paper or something like that, and put it in there. And just have that notebook. Like I said, you can hand over the manual to XYZ business, and someone will be able to look right into it and be able to get started, inshallah. All right, so establish the foundation and the blueprint. Define when a process begins and it ends, when handoff takes place. Perfect example, the same business as the scenario. The owner goes live on the page. Once the owner goes live on the page, the customer service team sends out an email just following up with the email list, reiterating what she said on that live. In many cases, they actually send the link to that live for the email customers that may be different than the people that are on that live can also see excuse me, what she talked about on that live. After that happens, then the orders happen, and the orders come in. As the orders are coming in, the business owner is creating the product. As the business owner is creating the product, they're seeing the trend of how many of a product are being sold. And so they're making sure that they have enough product to handle the sales trend, right? Then after that, then the packing team comes in, and the packing team packs the orders and ships the orders. And then the third party, which may be USPS, UPS, FedEx, whatever you're using, takes over and they ship it to the customer. Then it doesn't end there once the customer receives their order. Now the business owner comes back and says, you just received XYZ package. This is how you use XYZ package. You see that? You see that full circle cycle. So when the process begins, who's in charge of it, when the handoff takes place, who's in charge of that, and then down the line. So again, lead generation, sales team closes, product production, service operation team takes over. And when I say sales team, your website may act as your sales team. So that's making sure that when you go over to the website, it's easy for the customer to be able to go from shopping for a particular product over to buying the particular product. A great, if you are specifically a product-based business, I recommend Shopify. So I recommend using Shopify as a platform. If you are a service-based business or a hybrid, I recommend Squarespace or Wix. And so Squarespace, Wix specifically, if you are service-based only. If you're service-based only, use Wix. If you are service-based and product-based, use Squarespace. It will allow you to be able to create services and also allow you to be able to have products on your site. So for example, HalimahDeOliveira.com is that's a hybrid. So it brings together my BeYouInHD and also my books. And so my services and my products are there. The reason why that's important to me is because Squarespace allows me to connect with Zoom. And so when a customer does a consultation or any other type of appointment that we'll meet on Zoom, the Zoom link is automatically sent to them. I don't have to do any of that. All right. So just something for you to think about. That's a process. That's your website working for you. That's your sales team doing everything for you. Create controls and metrics. So create checkpoints and criteria to periodically test if your processes are working. We did that scenario with this particular business where they, tested, okay, can we handle an influx of 400 orders in 2 or 3 days? That was tested. That was something that we tested by putting the items on sale. Anytime this particular business never goes on sale, but anytime there's a sale, the customers go off and they buy. So they tested it and the team was able to rise to the occasion. When team member does this, company achieves this. So when you can create controls and metrics, the team member does XYZ, the company achieves this. So in this particular scenario, the company achieved higher revenue, right? And got more customers. So they got more leads. And by doing that, they can afford to pay their team members, right? So everybody wins. Last one is implement process and change, right? So communicate process and any changes early and often. So you need to have big communication skills when you are in business and you start to bring on team members. And often to those it will impact, so they are in the loop. Each team member to understand their role in the process. So again, I would even create a chart. So we do this for specific businesses when they don't have a hierarchy. Maybe it's just them and a spouse or something like that own a particular business. You want to spell out the CEO is so-and-so. The person that answers to the CEO is the operations manager, whatever they're doing, CFO, COO, whoever is communicating with the CEO. Under them, operations manager is in charge of the shipping team. They're in charge of the customer service team. Whatever they're in charge of, you want to make sure that you have that hierarchy in place so that everyone knows who they're accountable to, and they also know why their job is important. I did a retreat last year for one of the businesses. They took their team to Jamaica, but one of the 2 of the 5 days that we were there, we were focusing on the business, and we focused on. One of the questions that I asked the team is, do you know how important your role is in the business? So it's important to tell your team what their role is and why you are doing a specific process or why you have a specific procedure in place. All right. Any questions here? Okay. I wanted to put this statistic in here. Excuse me. Because it's very alarming, 1, and number 2, it's why we need processes and procedures, right? And it's also important for you, even though you may be a solopreneur, you may be the only employee when you first start out, and you may be that for at least a minimum of a year, because it may take a year for you to get all of these processes and procedures in place. So just to give you an idea of maybe how much time this will may take for you. So don't beat yourself up if, 3 months down the line, you don't feel you have all of the processes and procedures in place, or you don't feel you have all the policies in place. Your business can start with what you know. So what you know today is what you know. So implement what you're doing on what you know today. And as you move along, again, we talked about you're going to go back and revise these processes, policies, and procedures as you go along. So you just keep that in the back of your head. But 90% of women-owned businesses have no employees other than the business owner. So it may be easy for you to say, well, I can create these policies, processes, and procedures later because it's just me and I know what I'm doing and I know what's going on. I know how much, of a thing goes inside of this recipe. I know the measurements of this particular dress, or I know how this particular thing is supposed to be sewn. There's like a movie on Netflix. I didn't watch it. I'm not a big TV person, but I saw it. And it was like this girl, she's a hairdresser, and she gets invited to like the palace, and they pay her like $50,000 or whatever to cut the king or whoever he is hair. Again, I just saw this in passing, right? So imagine you're in your shop, you're a hairdresser, and it's just a regular Tuesday. And on Tuesday, Sister Naomi, the same people, we got 4 clients, they come every single, week, and that's what you can expect. But imagine you get a 5th client on just a regular Tuesday, and that 5th client has you cut their hair, and you do such an amazing job that they say, hey, I want you to cut the king's hair, and I'm going to take you to England, and I'm going to pay you $50,000. Are you ready? Are you ready? I'm going to tell you how you get ready. You put these processes, policies, and procedures, you create them so that, one, when the king comes, somebody can open up the shop and take care of your business while you're going to make your $50,000, right? And that they'll be in good hands because you created these processes and procedures. And so that may happen. Beyonce, during, I believe it was 2020, when COVID first happened, I believe it was 2020, not 2021. Yeah, 2020. Beyonce was on this kick of putting people on. There's a lady right here from New York. She made jewelry, and she put that lady on. This lady went from making a couple of $1,000s to this lady's making 6-7 figures a year, but she hand makes her jewelry. And they had her on something, and that's how I found out about her, but they had her on something, and she talked about I almost fumbled this bag because I'm hand making the jewelry. So it was a good thing that she had the foresight. She didn't know Beyonce was coming, but she had the foresight to say, hey, let me make some jewelry in advance. So while people were buying the jewelry she already made, she was busying herself with making sure that she was making more jewelry so she didn't fumble that bag. And so, mashallah, she's still, creating that a year and some change later. She's still reaping the benefit from Beyonce posting on her page. Beyonce tell you to buy something, you go buy it, right? And Beyonce did that several times. It was another lady, it was like lipstick. She made $1 million in 24 hours. Imagine she didn't have the inventory. Imagine she didn't have, the packaging and, a machine to print those labels. Imagine she didn't have any of those things. So stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And part of staying ready is making sure you have these policies and procedures in place. And I tell you these crazy stories so that this sticks in your mind and you always remember them. So 90% of women-owned businesses have no employees other than the business owner, which means you will likely start out as a solopreneur juggling all the roles initially. The sooner you clearly lay out the processes and procedures, the easier and quicker you will be able to hire your team. Again, I talked a little bit earlier to get that binder, write out the processes for completing each task daily. This will help you to identify potential employees and customers. So how many of you, have you guys done an activity? Who's your target audience?
We have talked about that. Go ahead,
Okay.
guys.
That's all right. So I'm going to give you just a couple of tidbits, but your target audience, this process and procedures plays into your target audience. So I would make this apart. So I would, at the top of a piece of paper, write who is my target audience, and who your target audience. You should have a minimum of 10 characteristics of who this target audience is. And basically what that means is who is my product, service, or hybrid business? Who is it for? Who benefits from it? So you could start with these. So who I help. So for me, I help, women of faith in business, right? So women of faith who are either currently in business or who want to go into business, whether part-time or full-time. They are 36 years old or older, right? And this is a number that I came up, the age I came up with because of where she is in her life. She already has children. She may be married or newly divorced or something like that. She lives in an urban environment. She lives in the suburbs, but she works in the city. All of this is important because it lets me know I may find her at a soccer game, but when she's with her children, but I'm going to find her at Starbucks in the city right down the block from her job. Does this make sense? I will tell you too, I like Burberry, right? So I like my accessories to be a designer, right? So certain things designer. So and by the way, her name is Ivana. So my target audience, I gave her a name too. So her name is Ivana. She's 36 years old. All of these things that I'm telling you. She's quirky. She's funny. She has a serious side to her. She is bougie, right? She's a little bourgeois, right? So she likes nice things. All of these things I wrote down, and I even drew her too, right? And she's a woman of faith. So she could be Muslim, but she could be not. She could just be connected to her faith. I can spot her from across the room. I know when she enters into the room. Immediately, I know when she enters into the room without knowing her. By the way she sits, where she sits, when she comes in, does she talk to people immediately? I'm mostly drawn to people who come into a room and they're talking. They're already, hey, that kind of thing. That's me. I'm immediately drawn to her and she is also drawn to me, right? And so I know that. So target audience, write it down, 10 characteristics. One of the other characteristics that you want to write down as well is how much money does she make, right? And a big mistake that women make is they go, well, I've already sold to this group. They make this is how they are, and that's who my customer is. No, I want you to close your eyes before you do this exercise. And I want you to say, in an ideal world, who is my customer? So when I started out, I'm not going to use mine. I'm going to use this business. So when this other business that I've been with for 3 years, like I said, they made $2 million this year ending. Their first year, they made $150,000, right? The first year I started working with them, which was in 2019, right? 19, whatever. When I first started working them, they were $150,000 business. The following year, we made $1 million. I'm gonna tell you what the difference was. The mindset of the business owner. So the business owner was selling these bundles for $50, way 50 or 55, way underpriced, right? But when I first started with her, her mindset was, my customer can afford $50. And the reason why her customer could afford $55 is because that's all she could afford. She was still working in her full-time job, making $50,000 a year. She could only afford to spend $55 on this luxury hair care stuff, right? It wasn't until maybe 4 or 5 months later, we revisited this conversation. And I was like, we're going to change this price from $55 to $85. She was so mad at me. I think I was about to get fired. That day, I think I was about to get fired. But I stuck to my guns because the way her product looked, her actual product, which I had tested myself, was worth $85. and she way underpriced. I knew that when she hired me, but I couldn't get her there because her mindset wasn't there. And so we had to go back and do this exercise of her target audience and say, who is your ideal market? And you know what we said? The person that has the disposable income to spend $85 every 4 weeks on a particular product makes $75,000 or more a year. That person has the disposable income to purchase my product. You have a $200 item. That person probably needs to make $100,000 or more to be able to afford that. There's nothing wrong with you saying my ideal clients makes this a year, has access to this amount of money a year. You know why? It takes you out of the headspace that you have to serve everybody. Because when you serve everyone, you serve no one. Right? So no one is going to buy your products, or you can't really hone in on who your client is because you're trying to get to everybody. Everybody is not your customer. And that's period. Everyone is not your customer. Niche down. Me, I was in a room. So I'm considered a business strategist or coach. So I hang around with a lot of other business strategists and coaches. I was in a room with 300 of them. I was the only hijabi in the room. The only one. And there was like an opportunity to like ask a question. And when I stand up, I always say, hi, my name is Halimah DeOliveira, and I'm the CEO of BeYouInHD, and it's a transformational coaching company for Muslim women in business. That's how I introduced myself in this specific room. I was the only hijabi in the room. Now, I was the only hijabi, but I wasn't the only Muslim, but there was no way for me to know that, right? So after, and then, and this is how you do it. So that intro, and my question is, so this is how you get away with it. All right. This is how you get away with letting people know who you are, what you do, and all that kind of stuff, and ask your question. So I just gave you another $1 million trick there. Okay. After I asked the question, I don't even remember what the question was because the goal wasn't the question. The goal was to introduce myself to this room of 300 people without having to walk to all 300 people and let them know who I was. Anyway. So at the end of the program, all the speakers had finished. I had a line of people waiting to talk to me. And one of the women, what she said was, I am a coach, but I get a lot of Muslim women, but I'm not able to help them. Would we be able to connect and maybe collaborate and do something? And you can connect with the Muslim women that, I'm, just not able to coach, right? She couldn't connect with them because that wasn't her, that wasn't her field of expertise. So it's important to niche down. That was the purpose of that story. Niche down, niche down, niche down. The sister who talked about, she has the consign, almost like a consignment business where she sells the product overseas. That's niche because she's only doing it to, she's only sending it to Saudi Arabia, right? So she's very specific, right? Very specific. So she knows exactly who her customer is. I would even make it, even deeper. I haven't seen your social media page, so I haven't seen what you're doing, but make sure that you get as specific and granular as possible. If you're specifically, coaching or selling a product to Muslims, and you say, well, I don't want to do that because then I'm narrowing my field. There are 1.8 billion Muslims. There are 1.8 billion Muslims in the world. Stop it. Stop it. You can't, 1.8 billion Muslims is not enough. Okay. So, and even in that 1.8 billion, niche down even more, because maybe I'm only talking specifically to Muslims. So that cuts it in half. Yes, someone had a question. Yes.
Yeah. I wanted to also I think that's such an important point, because what happens with me is like, I'm trying to coordinate programs, but everybody doesn't show up. Right. So if your audience is everybody, you can get completely dejected and just be like, I'm such a failure. When you have a very specific audience and that audience consistently shows up, it helps you feel like you are accomplishing something as well.
Mm-hmm. It keeps you moving, right? Keeps you going. That, those thumbs up keep you going, like going live. Those hearts start coming up when you go live. You're like, yes, I'm reaching them. Yes.
Okay, I have a question, please. I'm the one you spoke to about. So if I have these people, like for example, I'm selling for the Arabs in Saudi or in the Gulf countries, that's not considered that I'm not expanding the business? Because that's one of my concerns right now. That's what I'm thinking about. Do I do like now everything I do in social media is in my language, in Arabic, and they're good customers, okay, because it is a market, okay. But at the same time, I'm thinking, do I do the website in Arabic? Do I just like concentrate on them? Is
Why
that
not?
considered good or not?
Why not?
Yeah, I think about your idea when you mentioned that there are a lot, that it's never enough, and each person will not buy one time and that's it. But I'm thinking, business mind, is it considered? So thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely. I'm going to give you a scenario. So at the time when I started BeYouInHD, I was living in Philadelphia, New Jersey. So tri-state for me was Philadelphia, New Jersey, maybe New York, and like Delaware, right? So those were the surrounding states for me. And so I was focused on that particular area, serving the women in that particular area. Allah had a totally different plan for me. And he said, wait a minute, your business is online. You go live, you can touch many people. And so it expanded my thinking. And instead of just, reaching these specific type, instead of me getting to Ivana in this tri-state area, I was reaching Ivana globally. And so for you, is it Sister Fatine?
Yes.
Sister Fatine? So same thing for you. You can even say on your site, I serve these Arab, countries. You're shipping the product. So even when you go to your shipping, only those particular countries come up. And so here's what I will tell you how I was able to expand BeYouInHD from that tri-state area to globally. I got great at what I did in the tri-state. I became known for not without my hijab. I became known for empowering women in their Muslim identity and talking about faith and finances in the same sentence, so simultaneously. And that's what I became known for in the tri-state. Once I became known for that in the tri-state, people started telling other people, and they're like, well, do you come to Delaware? Do you come to Texas? Do you come to Florida? Do you come over here? Do you come over here? I did a workshop in Morocco. So I did a workshop in Morocco. I was invited to do that. Why? Because what I was talking about, there were women in Morocco that needed to be served. I was invited to go to Canada. Why? There were women that Ivana was in Canada. And so the 15-week Build Your Boss Biz program, we had people from all over, different parts of Africa, forget the actual city or state in Africa, but all over the world coming to this virtual program. Why? Because she's Ivana. Doesn't matter where she is in the world, my program was made for her. And so she found me, we found each other, and now I'm positively impacting her. So there's two things of advice that I'm giving you on Fatine, and that is get great at serving those Arab countries that you serve. And at some point, once you feel like you can handle more, you switch that website over to both Arabic and English, and then you start serving those other countries. But get great at those initial areas to where people are going to be like, well, when are you going to open it up to this? All right.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, beautiful. I see another hand raised, I believe, Sister Adrian.
Yes, assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
I'm just like, I'm over here. I don't want to take too much time, but I'm over here like bubbling. Like when you said, focus in on this market. First of all, I love that you named your target audience. You gave them a name, because that's like the first thing to making something real. Like when you're expecting a child, you give the child a name. You don't just saying it, whatever. It makes it that much more alive, more, more reachable, right? But to me, it validated for me, like all of these different experiences that I've ever had, right? Maybe, okay, go and get a cosmetology license, but don't necessarily use it every single day as my career. However, now I have a target for my product that I can say, hey, I know by the time you have done X amount of days on your feet are burning. This is going to help you with XYZ, your feet, your knees, everything. So you know what? That was like such a gem for me. And I really appreciate that. It's just a real hair.
Wayakum, I mean, and just an ad, pain point. So in your target, when you're doing that exercise for your target audience, make sure you add that pain point. That was absolutely a beautiful, sister, that you add. The pain point is, I've been on my hours for however many, I've been on my feet for however many hours I've been on, and this is the product for you. And you're able to speak to that because you've been in that industry. Absolutely beautiful. And you can use the networking and the connections. Girl, we could go for hours on what you could do. All right. Okay. So now we come to the exercise. As I promised, we are going to create your blueprint for processes and procedures. This is a 15-minute exercise. Inshallah, we will time it. And I know we're going to get close to, when this is supposed to end, but I'm at your disposal. I put an hour cushion in between my next appointment. So if if you're okay staying, I'm okay staying too. Okay. So the purpose, so you want to follow this. I like this little diagram off to the side because it encompasses everything that I'm giving you today. So the purpose, the plan, the action, the feedback, the change. And remember how I said earlier, you're going to go back to these processes and procedures, and you're going to go back and revise them. You're going to go back and take a look at what's working, what's not working, etc. This diagram does an excellent job of showcasing that. So the first section is the purpose. So describe the process for. I'm describing the process for how I create leads. Describe relevant background information. So the reason for the goal. So the reason for the goal of creating leads is to bring in potential customers and to bring in revenue, right? And a standard operating procedure. And so then how do you do that? I go live every single Wednesday and I give tips on XYZ. That's what you're doing. Plan or scope of work. So identify the intended audience and or activities, going back to that target audience, etc. Prerequisites. Outline information required before proceeding with the listed procedure or example, worksheets, documents, etc. Right? So what that means is okay, I'm packing this box. I'm going to need a box. And what size box do I need? I'm going to need tape. I'm going to need the label. I'm going to need the products that I need to put in the box, all that kind of stuff, right? So what are the prerequisites, right? Responsibilities. Identify the employees or employees that play a role in the standard operating procedure. Describe how, Describe how the responsibilities relate to the process or procedure or standard operating procedure. Include contact information for any handoffs. So you see this a lot in a hospital. They intake the patient. The nurse measures you. She takes your blood pressure, all that kind of stuff. She puts you in the room. Doctor comes in and sees you. Once the doctor comes in and sees you, he writes the prescription, he gives it to the nurse. The nurse gives you your discharge paper, she gives you a prescription, and you get out of there, right? So perfect example. All right, procedure, action, feedback, and change. So provide the steps required to perform this procedure, the who, what, when, where, and how. Include a process visual flowchart. Put metrics in place to test or receive feedback, revise, and create new or tweak existing plan. And then lastly, the resources. Provide a list of policies, resources, and or contacts the employee can contact or use for assistance. So for the purpose of this exercise in this class, we're going to make it simple. We're only going to choose one process that we are creating the plan for. So 3 people, tell me something that you do for your business every single day.
For me, I do the marketing every day.
Okay, so what you may put is, so describe the process for marketing my business, right?
Mm-hmm.
What does that entail?
Is posting, for example, the products that I have. And after that, replying to customers who ask questions about it, asking for more details. And then because I do everything by myself, I have to push the sale. There is no website, so I have to do the process of receiving the payment, making sure it's there, and then I go to the shipping part and getting information for shipping.
Got it.
And then I
Okay.
have to prepare the box and arrange for it.
Perfect. So I would start, there. So maybe describe the process for customer acquisition and sale, right? So how do I acquire a customer, and then the process through the sale? So that may be what you work on today. The beauty of what you just described is once you get it all down on paper, you can actually go and say, okay, how do I solve for taking myself out of some parts of this process? So really quickly, one of the parts of the process that can help you for the sale is a website or a place that can take your payment so that you don't have to go through all of that. So just a real quick answer, just because I want to help. Yes, you could create a website, but the other option that you have is you could put your products up on, there's an app called Square, where you can put your products up there, but it's not technically a website. It's a link that you would send the customer, and you can put pictures of the products inside of that Square app, and then the customer can make their payment. In most cases, because these customers are overseas, they may use something like PayPal or something like that. They may not use like an actual credit card. They may use like a service PayPal or something like that. Whatever it is, you can set all of that up in Square. All right. And that's a way around the website until you're at a level where you can get the website going, inshallah. All right. All right. So any questions for what you're going to complete for your blueprint today?
You asked the question, it's like, what is something that you do every day? What if you're not at a point where you're doing something every day?
Okay, so what type of business are you planning on having?
I offer a product. I offer a product called Therapy, therapeutic shea butter.
Okay. All right. So what you would be doing is how do you acquire customers now?
At this point, I'm really just figuring that out. I just really started like posting on social media a little bit. I intended to attend a pop-up shop yesterday, but due to weather, it was canceled. So now I'm like shifting and thinking, yes, how can I do this? But like how we just talked about, your niche market in terms of like, who are we? And now find our mirror image out there in the world and say, okay, this is who I am, and this is who I need to reach, because I understand what they're doing. So maybe that's an activity now I can focus on.
Absolutely. So say again.
I was going to say, who is my audience? Developing that.
Sure.
That starting point.
Sure. And that's essentially a process, right? So, you creating, okay, who is my Ivana? Right. So yours may have a different name. Get it. I don't know if it's a she or he or both. Right. So it could be just your ideal, customer. Right. So maybe what are they called? I forget. They have these groups, and they, like, let's just say the Rockettes. Right. So if you serve like male and female, you could just call them a group and just say the Rockettes, right? And so, who are the Rockettes, right? So the Rockettes could be male or female, but they like their skin to be, smooth, or they're looking to cure a specific type of ailment. How do you talk to them, right? So you talk about, go ahead. You're breaking up a little bit.
I'm sorry. Yes, I'm just agreeing with you 100% that yes, this is a starting point that I think I'm going to work on, of who is my audience, what do they look like, what do they experience on a regular basis, and I think that will help me to drill down as to how to speak to them and then how to even present to them.
Perfect. Yes.
Shukran.
F1. All right, timer starts now. It's 11:46. So we'll stop right around 12 and then just see where everyone is, inshallah. All right, everybody, that is time. How did we do?
Great.
I think we
Only
did
thing I need to
great.
do
I
is give
gotta
them a
tell
name.
you, intense.
How did that feel? Or how does it feel?
It was a clarifying experience for me. It really was.
Speak on it. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, like I mentioned, it really just made me understand that, number one, the experiences that I've had over the years that didn't necessarily play out the way I intended them for, what it really does is, number one, it solidifies that Allah is in control, right? He is the best of planners, alhamdulillah. So everything that I've experienced has been a lesson to get me to this point, so that way today I can understand who my target audience is. My target audience is someone who is very similar to myself, someone who works hard every day. You know, income is limited. Everyone's income is limited, of course, but it's limited in the sense that if they don't work, there's no money being earned because they are an independent contractor. They are a barber, a cosmetologist. You know, even if they're employed, they're still working hard on their feet. They may be a nurse, they may be a doctor, they may be whomever, but this is someone who grinds it out every single day. Even if they're on a computer, you know, clicking that mouse, they may have carpal tunnel, they may have repetitive motion, but at the end of the day, they have to work. So it's not like, oh, I can just take a day off because I don't really necessarily feel well. No, they've got to get in there, they've got to grind it out, and they've got to make it happen. So my product is something that, inshallah, is going to give them that energy to say, all right, I don't necessarily feel great, but this product got me to the point where I can shake it off and I can keep it moving. And when I get back home, I can really say, okay, it wasn't like my best day, but I showed up and Allah showed out because he kept me rolling. So that's who my audience is. And I understand that today.
Alhamdulillah. You see how I heard passion? I heard you knew exactly what you were talking about. I heard the pain point, and then she killed it when she flipped it and said, and my product. In myself, I was like, yes, that's it right there. So you literally just showed us, how do I correlate? And this is a whole nother lesson not covered today, but this will speak to a process or procedure. So when I do my spiel, I introduce myself, my 60 seconds, go back to the beginning. If you could, you know, I don't know if you'll get the replay of this, but if you do, go back to the beginning and go back to that 60-second elevator pitch where I said, these are the things that you need to have. Sister, you just gave that to us just now. Who you are, you know, who you are is who you are. How do you help people? Why do you help them, right? I'm a person just like you. I go through the same thing. I'm in the same industry as you. I need to make sure that I show up every single day to provide for myself, my family, you know, et cetera, right? And you know, this may not be the total solution, you know, long term, but for the short term, it helps you with this. You know what I heard? I heard that you're going to come out with another product. It's not just going to be the cream that gives them the short-term solution. I heard that you're going to come out with a product that's going to give them the long-term solution. That's what I heard you say. FYI. All right.
You
so
heard
this is not.
You heard that.
I heard it. I heard it loud and clear. I heard it loud and clear. So may Allah grant
you heard that.
I mean, may Allah grant you tawfiq with your current product, and may Allah give you the discernment and the foresight to be able to create the other products that will correspond later down the line with this particular product. And may you continue to expand upon the process, procedures, and just that person. So I've revised Ivana several times. So like I said, I'm going into 6 years, but I've revised Ivana several times. The base is there, but her income has changed. So like I talked about that business, as her income level grew, she could see somebody paying $85 for a product. She's got products that cost $200. There's a product that she has that costs $400. Now, she didn't have that before, and creating a luxury line. So the luxury line is $400 and up. period. That speaks to a specific person within her niche. So there's a person that wants the high end, the middle end, and the low end. That's even another lesson. So remember that too. 3 tiers. Make sure that you have a low, a middle, and a high price point with whatever products and services you have. All right, that's worth $1 million, what I just gave you, I promise you. Okay, so moving on, I want you to take a picture of this, and this is specifically for those of you who are either currently on social media or those of you who are thinking about going onto social media. This is another standard operating procedure. So specifically for Sister Fatine, you're currently doing this already. So this would help you to expand even more with your content creation that you're doing. So make sure you take a screenshot of this. And remember, social media is fun. Say it again. Social media is fun. Okay? Don't make it something that it's not. Social media is fun, all right? And this is your opportunity to showcase your products. This is your opportunity to front face your customer. This is your opportunity to show, hey, this is what we've got going on behind the scenes. This is where we are. These are the products we've been working on, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So sample guidelines you'll want to include in your standard operating procedure, specifically for social media, AKA content creation, are research. So research the topics, hashtags, and keywords that are related to your specific business or industry and industry. The guidelines to creating content. So going back to that Hope Hijab scenario, her team knows this is the font that you use when you send out an email. This is the format that you use when you send out an email. This is the feeling that I want my email or my post to elicit. And you go on down the line. Formatting of content, so specific colors, sizes, fonts, etc. You want to keep that streamlined. If you notice, my presentation today was pink. It's the colors of my business logo. Everything is on purpose, right? Person and process for proofing and editing. Who do I send this to? Who's the second eyes on whatever we're putting out? Is it me? Do you create everything and then you send it to me and then I put my stamp of approval? Or is there a person that specifically does that for you? Content calendar and due dates. You know why you're able to execute? You know why you're able to do things consistently? Because you create a process and or procedure for it, and you put due dates on it. What you want to get done, put an expiration date on it, and then hold yourself accountable to getting whatever that thing is done by XYZ date. I have a podcast that comes out every single Wednesday, right, at 10 a.m. I got to be accountable to make sure that that podcast is edited, approved, everything is done for it. I have all of the contact information from the person that I interview. Everything is there. Why? My client is looking for that podcast episode to come out every single Wednesday at 10 a.m. And you know what people say? Oh, I've been waiting, for this week's episode. I know you said last week this episode was going to be about this. I was waiting on that, right? So hold yourself accountable, because you are now, as a business, you are now accountable to the people that you serve. Project management and storage system for content. A great thing that you can use. So I talked about Planoly earlier. There's one, Honeybook. So again, this is something that you may not have in place initially, especially if it's just you. But once you start hiring team members, you want to know what every single team member is doing. You want to give them a due date for when things are supposed to be done, what they're accountable for, and everybody on your team can see what the other person is doing. Extremely important. Honeybook is one of my favorite ones for that, but you can look for other ones. And all you have to do is type in project management. And the beauty of that is any photos that you take or anything like that, you can store them in this project management software. So say if someone on your team is responsible for creating the social media posts and all of the pictures are in one place. So for the week, 21 posts are what are going to go up, 3 posts a day, 21 posts. And so all of the photos or graphics or videos or whatever are stored in one place. And that person who handles their social media manager, can just go and grab all of that stuff off. All right. Timeline for when content is published. So every single day at 11 a.m. a post goes out. 3 p.m., the next post goes out. 5 p.m., the next post go out. That's where you're relying on that software that I talked about, which is the Planoly, and your entire team knows that post better be out at 11, that post better be out at 3, and that post better go out at 5, right? On time. The process for graphics and copy creation, again, going back to, this is the look and the feel that we want to have on our social media page. This is the emotion that we want to elicit. You also schedule for promotion of your content pieces. Is it an email that you want to go out at a certain time? There's a scheduling system for that. Is there something that you want to happen at a specific time? Schedule it. And then how to repurpose content. So a lot of people are like, how do you post so frequently? How do you do this so frequently? I schedule a photo shoot every single month. I sit down every single month and I write down what quotes I want to have go out. I write down whatever programs I'm involved in, or whatever the case may be. All of that is done on the 15th of the month prior for the month that's coming up. So I know all of that stuff that's going to be there. What I secondly do is podcasts. So my podcast episode, I repurpose that content so many different ways. So I record the video of the content initially, that is a post. After that, it becomes a podcast episode where you listen to the audio. I clip up the original video and then it becomes another post of maybe 3 minutes to 5 minutes, and you can catch a clip of that. I then take the audio and I can make that into a blog post, or I can make that into an article, and I can go ahead and put that on my social media page. I can go on and on and on and on. Something amazing that I said on the podcast episode, or a quote that was me saying it, I can then make it into a graphic and repost it on my page. So see how to repurpose your content, all of the different ways that I want my content repurposed on my page. I communicate that in my processes and procedures and give it to my team. Next, examples of content that you'll want to include instructions for are. So remember, I just named all of those things that I'm repurposing content on. I gave them to you. So blog posts, emails, social media posts, podcasts. You can do a freebie, and this says workbook. I'm a fan of me not spending my money to give somebody a freebie. I'm gonna say that again. Me not spending my money to give someone a freebie. So to create an ebook costs me nothing. I can go into Canva, C-A-N-V-A, if you've never heard of it, and I can create the workbook for free, or ebook. It's essentially an ebook for free. And then I can create a document for it, and I can have that sent out to an email list, or someone subscribes to my email list, and I can have that sent out to them. You can do it same thing with a checklist. It could be just in the PDF format. And this will grow your mailing or email list. YouTube videos. So again, remember I talked about earlier, the podcast episode is live and it's recorded. I take that video and put it on my YouTube channel. So now I've got all of this I've recorded this content one time, and I've got all of these ways that I can translate this content, all for what? To create leads that lead back to me, lead back to someone either just, following me on social media, or leads back to me of them buying a product or service that I have. You see how everything relates to each other, and the importance of these processes and procedures. And all of these things you will not do all at once. You may start with your email list. Social media posts and email lists is where you should start, period. Social media posts and your email list, start there. Once you have established that, then you can start adding on these other things should you choose to do so. A blog post can get someone to buy, can give them information, instructions, all kinds of stuff. And then Facebook and Instagram live broadcasts. I included that because there's a new thing called a content creator. This is not something you have to do right now, but it's something I want you to put in the back of your mind. And the reason why this is important is because these platforms are now paying people to go live. They're paying people to create content, and people are making millions of dollars doing exactly what I'm saying to you right now. A year. I'm not talking about 10 years. I'm talking about in a year, these people are making millions and millions of dollars of creating content. And in many cases, it's things that you were going to do anyway. I'm going to go live every week anyway. All I've got to do, though, is turn on the content creation thing, and I can start getting paid when I go live. I'm doing it anyway. I need to do it because I need to create leads for my business. I need to get the word out about my business. Doing it anyway. It's another stream of income. So literally every single thing that we just named here can create a stream of income for you. Podcasts. People pay to be guests on podcasts. People pay to promote their business on podcasts. In a podcast episode, I may record a snippet that say, hey, welcome to the Boss Hijabipreneur podcast. This episode is sponsored by Essentia. Drink this water, I'm getting paid. They just paid me. Essentia paid me. I'm lying. You know, it's not true, but I wish, because I drink essential water like it's going out of style. But anyway, that's for another day. When you guys hear me partner with Essentia, you know why, okay? I really use this product. But so, hey, Essentia, I drink your water, and I have been seen on lives, on posts, everything with this water. I would love to partner with you. I can talk about this water, how it's hydrating, how blah, 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 right? Now I can use them as a sponsor for my podcast, or as a sponsor for an event that I am doing. They send me, free cases of essential water, and essentially that attracts them more customers. All right. I could go on and on. I really could. All right. I really enjoy doing this, and I'm grateful to be here with all of you. So I wanted to say Jazakallah khair for having me, Sister Rashida, Sister Sadaf, and I think there are other of you on here. I can't remember everyone, but Jazakallah khair for allowing me to be here. Somebody said manifest. Ameen. Yes, manifesting. Somebody take a picture. Send this to Essentia. I did talk about you during this live presentation, and I would love to partner with you, Essentia. I really do drink your water. Look,
I just took a screenshot. So trust and believe. These people finna call you. They finna send you an email, okay?
I mean,
I'm queen. I will hype up something and be like, I think about it and be like, I don't even use that.
Oh, I mean. Okay, so I'm here at your disposal. Please, any questions that you have, please feel free. And please, Sister Rashida, Sister Sadaf, please let me know if I'm all right with time. I'm just Q&A. Yeah.
Well, alhamdulillah, listen, as most of you all, I'm sure y'all are feeling like how I'm feeling. I can hear it in Adrian's voice. I can see it in some of y'all faces. Jazakallah khair, Sister Halimah, what you were able to drop in a little over 2 hours. I mean, I got to tell you, I didn't tell y'all my personal experience with Sister Halimah. It's too late for that now. But what I will say is, I had a consultation with her, and no lie, you ever feel like you need to get your stuff together? You ever feel like, okay, when the questions are drilled down to you, like it was today, and it makes you, I think Dr. Salma has said the same thing, like it makes you feel like you're all over the place, because it makes you really dive very deep in your business. When you hear someone like Sister Halimah really talk to you, and you can feel the love of how bad she wants you to succeed, like there's so many things that she gave us today. There's so many jewels that she dropped, so much wisdom that she dropped. I mean, like, I'm sure, like, I see Sister Sadaf writing. I have like about 5 pages that I've written, and you just can't help it. You don't want to forget anything. But with that being said, it's like, how do we take this back to our businesses? That's really the key. And I got to tell y'all, just to put it out there, as most of you starting your business, me with my business, I have work to do. I can only start from myself. I have so much work to do. And when we work together, like Sister Adrian has said, like you all are our tribe. I mean, when you think of processes and procedures and think of where you need to be, where do you need to start besides the thought, the idea, and everything, to really drill down and be able to pass your business over to someone is huge. It allows you to still think of your business in a very bigger way, to get yourself established in the way that Allah has planned for you to be. So I just wanted to say, SubhanAllah, I'm very grateful for this opportunity to be sitting here with everyone and for Sister Halimah to be sharing, you know, her business insight and everything for us. But does anyone have any questions for Sister Halimah? Now's your chance, guys. Don't hold back. This is your time. Talk to Sister Halimah. I will hope that you have another chance to speak with her. But right now, if you have any questions, the floor is yours.
Well, I want to know, like, how, I mean, I think I might even have the answer, but how do you get to a point where you feel comfortable in front of the camera? You know, like I posted a little something yesterday. It was probably like 3 minutes. I went over that, like, I recorded it like 4 or 5 times. And I'm like, okay, that's not always something that I want to do. In terms of, sometimes I want to be like raw, like, okay, I have something happen. I can't, you know, it just like, boom, I want it to be like real time. And then sometimes, yes, it's more important to be like that much more polished, etc. But, you know, how you get there?
I would say to you, just start. So when you have the desire to go live and just do it. And I will tell you, when I first started out, so this is right when like video on Instagram had just started, when I started doing lives on Instagram or Facebook, whatever. It was right at the beginning. And I was nervous. I didn't have a stand. I didn't have any of the stuff that I have now, but I had the desire to see my business grow. I had the passion to reach the women that I wanted to reach. And that is what drove me to press, you know, that record button or press that go live button. And I will tell you, in the beginning, probably like the first 30 days, you want to know how many people joined the lives? And I did them every day. So for the first 30 days, I went live every single day for 30 days. And that was me getting over the fear of, you know, I'm live, but I can't see the people. You know what I mean? Like, I'm very much an in-person, like, let me touch and feel you. Let me give you a hug. Like, COVID is just against my whole personality. You know what I mean? Like, not being able to hug somebody, a mask. I mean, that's just, none of it is me. So that's how social media is. That's how going live is you can't physically touch those people, but they can feel your passion. They can feel your emotion. For 30 days, I went live every single day. Somebody tell me how many people you think joined my live.
5.
5? That would have been beautiful. That would have been beautiful had I had 5. For 30 days, I had 0 people join my lives for 30 days. For 30 days. What kept me, somebody said 1, I wish, 0. What kept me going was the fact that I wanted to reach this audience. And I understood back then how the algorithm worked. The more that you did a thing, the more the algorithm would favor you and put you up there. And so I had to reach a point where Instagram was even showing my video to my subscribers. At that time when I started, I had 200 followers. I had like 200 people. They were mostly my family and friends. These weren't even people that like wanted to buy something from me. They bought from me because they wanted to support me. So many of you may be in that space. My platform grew organically. I didn't buy any followers. I didn't do anything to buy followers. All of these people came organically, meaning, you know, Fulana or Fulan sent my video and they came over, or I went live and Instagram suggested my page based on the content that I post. Hashtags are huge for connecting you with the people that will want to, you know, ingest your content. And so when you're first starting out, use hashtags, use specific industry-specific verbiage in your captions. So a lot of people post and they have no caption. Please, please, please write a caption. They help with what is called search engine optimization. You may hear or see people call it SEO. That is extremely important because if you go and search Halimah DeOliveira, you'll actually see everywhere that Halimah DeOliveira has been on the internet. And that includes my Instagram page. That includes my Facebook page. Places that are top, that Google, so going to google.com, that they favor are videos. So YouTube and LinkedIn are the top two hits. If you type in a person's name, those are the top two things that you'll see. So you want to make sure that you have some type of presence on YouTube and that you have some type of presence on LinkedIn. A perfect thing to do on YouTube is to do an intro video. My name is Halimah DeOliveira. I'm the CEO of BeYouInHD LLC, and I serve the women of faith in business, and I teach faith and finance, whatever, right? That's a perfect thing. It could be the only thing you have on the YouTube, but you want to make sure that it's something that will bring them back to you, that will bring it back to a sale, et cetera. So my advice is to start exactly where you are and to not be afraid. Something that wasn't the case back then when I started, but is the scenario now. So you get the benefit of me having gone through all of the 5-6 years of doing this. A video that is 7 minutes or less is the best type of video to post on your page if you're doing like a video. Going live 45 minutes or less is the perfect time to be on a live. 20 minutes in is when you almost hit like the peak of the people coming to your live, and Instagram like saying, oh, she's still on, let me go and contact more people. So when you go live, say if you have 200 followers right now on your page, when you go live, Instagram shows it to the people that interact with your page the most. It's probably about 20% of that number. So if it's 200, 20% of that number is 40 people. So Instagram sends out 40 notifications, hey, Halimah's live, right? The longer you stay on, it's like, oh, she's still there. It starts sending it out to the rest of the 200 till it reaches all of the people. If you have some type of hashtag or something like that associated with that live, it starts to broadcast to pages that are similar to the people that follow you, right? So that's why it's important not to buy followers. It's important not to buy followers because it gives you a false positive of you seeing that number, but it also brings people that are not going to buy from you. They're never going to do anything except look at your page, right? Or even if they do that, they're never going to engage with you. They're never going to buy anything or anything. So it's important to gain these people organically because they're likely to support you in some way, whether that's liking something, buying something, etc. So I know I gave you a mouthful, but I can't give you one thing without giving you all of the other things. So.
I got it. Thank you. Suck a little hair.
Halimah, can I ask you a question, please?
Sure.
Going back to the policies and procedures, because that's really stuck with me today.
Yes.
How do you find, like you said, a competitor or an organization that's similar and have access to their policies and procedures so you're not starting from scratch?
Sure. So a lot of it could be networking. It could be that their policies and procedures are somewhere, specifically policies. A lot of times policies are somewhere. So they may have like a policy page that you can click on their website, etc. Hashtags will work for you. So explain to me again the specific niche of what type of coaching you're providing, Dr. Selma.
So it's for Muslim youth, grades 5 to 8, so the middle school age group, preventative Islamic inspired personal development.
Okay,
and they're going to be weekly sessions online via Zoom with personal development based on the Quran, and then a social networking component where they go play Minecraft or Roblox or whatever, and the kids just connect because they're all virtual, they're all online. It's like, let's just get them playing with each other and also learn and have a brotherhood, sisterhood that inshallah they're going to grow, through high school and college with. So that was really and I'm trying to see if there's anyone else out there doing something similar or, on that weekly basis. There's a lot of groups that do these retreats, but there's nothing on an ongoing basis. Sunday school is very different. My kids have tried it, and this was the result of them saying they don't want to do Sunday school anymore, unfortunately.
It's old school. Sunday school is old school. I'm 44. We used to do that when we were young. It was old then, right?
Right. So this
our
is kind
parents forced us to go. Okay, so I've done some legwork for you. I'm right here on Instagram.
Okay.
And I put the hashtag into the search bar, Muslim personal development. These are all of the businesses or the platforms that use the hashtag Muslim personal development, right? So that's one. You also talked about youth, right? So you can do Muslim youth, and this is a hashtag. So Muslim youth development, and see what comes up. So this is just on the Instagram platform. Did you know that hashtags are on every single social media platform? Did you know that they're on LinkedIn? Did you know that they're on Facebook? Did you know that they're on TikTok? Did you know that they're on Pinterest? All of these are on there. Here, I'm going to do you one better. So I typed in the words Muslim Youth Development, right? There's an actual organization called the Muslim Youth Development.
Awesome. All right.
They're right here on Instagram, and they are in Calgary, Alberta, and they have a website. So you can go over to them and you can go and start looking at their website. You can start looking at their programs. This is real. This is their page. So they've already done some of the work for you because they've already started their program. Going back to that slide where we talked about don't reinvent the wheel, take what they're doing well, take what you know about your own children that they don't want to do Sunday school, the traditional Sunday school, the way that it is, and combine it with this. Their website is called deanstrong.com, www.deanstrong.com. And then Paving the Way to the Future, they've got their vision on their page, camps, classes, programs, leadership, partnership programs, contact information, Muhammad at Dean Strong, and his phone number is on here. So what I would do, me personally, I would call Brother Muhammad. And I'd be like, Assalamu alaikum, Brother Muhammad. My name is Dr. Salma, and I came across your Instagram page, and I'm so ecstatic about what you're doing. I am interested in starting a program that may be very similar to yours here in the United States, serving, the Muslim youth. What I would like to know is if you have maybe, a few minutes to discuss some of the things. I would come to that meeting or that phone conversation with the questions already, let them know, ask how much time do you have, and whatever questions you have, hit it in that. If they say 15 minutes and you had 30 minutes in your mind, tweak those questions to fit in the 15 minutes because they're giving you their time, right? And then go from there. I would call them, right? I would look at their website, make sure it's in alignment with what you're doing, and then I would contact them ASAP. And like you said, this is my first time doing this, and I'm concerned, or my focus is on creating the policies, procedures, and processes. And so I want to make sure that I'm doing the things correctly, that I'm doing things that are not against Islam, like all those kind of things by creating this program. Okay.
That's amazing.
It really is that easy. Really is.
Jazakallah khair. Wow.
Well, yeah. All right. And that came again, we talk bad about Instagram, or Facebook is the devil, right? We just got a connection.
Yeah,
we just got two
absolutely.
connections, actually more. Because we have that other hashtag too. You can start scrolling through and looking through. Inshallah.
Okay.
May Allah grant you tawfiq. Ameen.
Ameen. Jazakallah khair. May Allah continue to help you spread your wisdom and benefit others.
Inshallah.
But that's good, because sometimes I get the impression that other businesses are our competition, and whatever they're doing, we gotta be so different. We gotta go against that. But for what? They've paid the, all of the, the pain and process that it takes to get to that point, and now they have been successful. So why, like you say, why reinvent the wheel? Just pattern after what they've done that has worked and use them as an ally, because it's not really competition. I mean, like you say, how many Muslims throughout the world? There's no competition in what we're doing. It's adding on to be of a benefit to everyone else, and we can really make this thing grow. So I appreciate that reaching out to them.
we're all trying to get the Jannah. And the beautiful thing is that when you're dealing with, another Muslim, business, one, they're more likely to help you, right? They understand, just that Jannah component. If I help this business succeed, bi'idhnillah, that's going to tip the scale, in my favor, right? And they may say, one of the things that I'll say to you though, in, kind of what I was, the undertone of what I was saying to Dr. Selma is that, they may have some parameters. They may say, oh, I can give you this, but, that's kind of the end of what I can give you. Don't get upset. Be okay with what they are able to give you. You, Sister Adrienne, talked a little bit earlier about, the feathers in your cap. So, I took this particular training, feather in my cap. I went over here, feather in my cap. As you move through these different businesses on social media, it's a feather in your cap until your cap is full, right? And, you can move forward with each thing that you learn every single day. And remember that it's about networking. I don't see other businesses as competition. I see them as opportunities to network, and I see them as opportunities to help to elevate the industry as a whole. And I'll explain exactly why. I'm in the coaching industry. When we all get together and we have a mastermind, right? And, every quarter I have a group, we have a mastermind. We have a mastermind and we talk about pricing, right? The importance of us talking about pricing is us all being on the same wavelength and saying, this is where we're going to start. If someone else is higher, great. But our starting and our baseline, inshallah, is the same, because that sets the precedent. We don't go below this baseline, because then people coming to get coaching services, they don't try to lowball us and say, okay, well, Fulana is giving it at this price. No, this is where we all are. And the beauty of that is it's, okay, this is where you got to start. Right? The risk is from Allah. Ameen. And no one will take it. And that is exactly Fatin. Perfectly said. Our risk is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I think I put that dua on my page a couple of days ago. And, that right there, it speaks to, people talk about abundance. And when you have an abundant mindset, no matter what someone else over there is doing, if they copy every single thing that you've done, they will never be able to take from you. And guess what? Vice versa. You'll never be able to take from them. People are like, how do you partner with other coaches that are doing exactly the same thing from you? Exactly what Sister Fatin said. My risk is from Allah. They can't take from me and I can't take from them. If anything, we elevate each other. Ameen. Perfect. Anybody else?
Assalamu alaikum. I do have a question.
Alaikum salam.
Halimah. Yeah, I don't have a place to provide my service yet. It's not going to be online. It's a all-females gym that hopefully, inshallah, will be here in Orlando. So I was wondering, when in the process should I start a social media presence, or like how should I document that? And like, because I'll be very honest and vulnerable. Like sometimes I am afraid that I'm not going to be able to do something like that, because I really don't have any background in business, and I'm not a personal trainer. I don't have any clients yet. So it seems like a daunting task sometimes. But yeah, I know that social media would be a really good way to get, create buzz and all of that stuff.
Okay. So you said a very, very, very important word in your talk track, and that word is document. Right? So we think document is, a piece of paper. Document in today's age is documenting the process. So part of me, if I have a client who's just starting out like you, document your process. Document before the gym is even open. Document where you start. Like I started from the bottom, now I'm here. I want to see it. I want to see, like, if I were coaching you, what I would say is, how did you start to acquire clients, right? So that's you going live. This is the reason why I want to start the gym. That would be the first post I would want to see. My intentions is in the next 6 months to a year is to open XYZ gym. Involve your following and your growing following in the process. A logo makes it real. Help me choose the logo. This is what I had in my mind. Do a poll in your stories. This is what I'm thinking about the logo. What do you think about the colors? Get the people that are following you involved in the process. After that, you start talking about what type of, what's the something that distinguishes you from the gyms that are currently out there. Magic words. It's for women. Is it for Muslim women or just women in general?
Women in general, but I think because it might be geared more towards women of faith, because I guess that's who would care most to, you know, work in. Yeah. I'm still figuring all that out. Sorry.
That's okay. So another thing with this, and I think it was a concern, but so you've got to check, this is again, going back to policy. So checking your state laws. What was the name of that? It was like an all women's gym back in the day. Curves. And the other one was, it was like LA Women's Fitness or something like that. It was something like that. It was all women's thing, right?
Yeah.
And in certain states, they couldn't have it because it discriminated against males by being only a woman's gym. So in your city, state, just check to make sure, and there's ways around it. You would just have to change your, the way you're wording, right? So your wording may which one, but check on that. That's one thing I would say to check on. But in your advertising, put it out there. These are what my intentions are. Bismillah, these are what my intentions are. And by you putting yourself out there, that is the thing that will push you to actually bring it into fruition. And who says that you have to manifest your dream, you have to have the actual facility just yet to manifest your dream? Why not rent a day at a studio or at a gym already, and you teach the classes there, and that's how people help you to get started. We think that we have to have the whole pie. All we need are some of the ingredients to be able to create the pie, and that helps us along the way. So go to the gyms that are already in the area, and I'm not sure if you'll be the one hosting the classes, but if you are, great. But if you aren't, start to enlist the people that are and say, hey, I want to start this gym. We're going to start it by going and being guest instructors at all of these different gyms. Go hit up your local gym. Hey, my name is Cherry, and I have this phenomenal XYZ program. It is specifically for maybe women of faith who are covered. I don't know what the scenario is, right? Whatever it is. And I would like to have this particular program every single Saturday. What do I need to do to get started? The worst thing that they're going to tell you is no. That's the worst. The best thing that they're going to tell you is, oh, we've been looking for you, right? So, and then what I would do is start with your local. So I'm not sure how many ladies are in this group, right? Start with your local. Would you be interested in, joining a program here in Orlando if I had it, where I would be doing XYZ type of, fitness or something like that? Start here. If it's not you, do you know anyone that would be interested in this program? And then it sparks from there. I'll give you a perfect example. I ran a cleaning business for 10 years, very lucrative. It was a 6-figure cleaning business. All of my clients in the 10 years that I ran that cleaning business can all go back to and attributed to my very first client. So I put an ad in the local newspaper. I spent about $148 for this particular ad. The first call that I got, they're the Amsterdam family. Many of them have passed away, including the brother the gentleman that hired me. He was one of my favorite clients, and not because he got me all those other clients. He was just amazing. So I started out with him. The very first cleaning was $200. Paid for that ad that I put in the paper, $148. I was already up by the time I did the first cleaning. After that, I would leave these little cards, and it would say, thank you so much for hiring, Halimah's cleaning service. That really was the name of it. Hiring Halimah's cleaning service, and, have a great week, something like that. And then at the bottom, it said, the best compliment is a referral. If you have a friend or family member who would like my cleaning services, please have them call XYZ. I left that card religiously every single week. By the second or third cleaning, I had gotten so many referrals from Mr. Amsterdam. That's what I used to call him, Mr. Amsterdam. And I got so many referrals from him that I ended up having to hire team members because it was too much for me to do by myself. And so from there, I went from a team of 4 to a team of 8. And so initially it was just me in those houses, cleaning those houses. Then I had a team of 4, and then it was my team. And then there was another team that I hired. And what I would do is some days I would go out with team A, and other days I would go out with team B to make sure that, the quality of the work was happening. And so also, some of the clients would be home or they would be on their way out. They saw me because the reason why they contracted the services was because of Halimah, not because of the workers that work with Halimah, right? So that is something that I would do. And so that referral system, so maybe you invest in those cards. Hey, sisters, every single on Wednesday, I'm at XYZ Gym, would love for you to come out, share this flyer with at least 3 people, share it on your social media page, etc. And even, do you have something I would post on my social media page is I would do a video and I would say, Assalamu alaikum, it's me, Sister Cherry. You guys know every single Wednesday we do workout with Sister Cherry at the such and such, gym. And I would love to see you there. If you've received one of these flyers, make sure that you share it with 3 people, share it to your stories and tag me so that I can retag you. Make it a fun thing. Remember I said social media is fun? Make it fun. And for those of you, real quick, that are apprehensive about front facing the camera, I better see that flyer and just have the flyer cover your face or turn the camera around and just show me the flyer, but I hear your voice because video is king or queen, depending on who you are. And for all of you, video is queen for all of you. So even if it's not you front facing you, turn it around and focus it on whatever it is that you're talking about, whether it's your product, your service, a flyer, whatever it is, all right?
Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
First of all, I'm a fan of you today. You gained a new fan. So I want to ask you, we heard how you got inspired to be who you are now, but how can you reach that? How can you get the info, improve yourself? I can just tell by the answering questions, like when you searched fast, that you are a person who can improve yourself by learning, by self-learning. But I want to learn from you because I love the field of business and I'm now a business student. So I'm hoping in the future I will be able, I advise people with the type of business I'm doing, but I cannot do it with other businesses, but I love it. I feel the passion when I'm studying it, I'm enjoying things. So when I see you doing that, you just inspire me. So I want to ask you, how did you go through this, improving yourself to be able to understand all type of businesses and the procedures and everything?
Time. And you remember Sister Adrienne, she talked about it, those feathers in your cap, right? So, I was over here and I was speaking to people that were in the fashion industry. I was over here and I was speaking to people that, were authors and wanted to author books. I was over here and I was speaking to women that were in health and beauty, right? The formula is the same. The formula for all of these businesses is the same. There's a general formula. Then the specifics, you may have to go to school for the specifics, or you may have to take a program for the specifics. LinkedIn, if you don't have already a LinkedIn account, but you are in business or aspiring to go in business, you should have a LinkedIn account. On LinkedIn, they have classes that you can take that are a part of LinkedIn. Most of them are free. Some of them may have a cost and you may have to do like $29.99 a month for, I think LinkedIn has the main entry point, a middle, and then like the top tier or whatever. And when you have that monthly tier that you pay for, more classes are available to you. So me personally, I take a lot of marketing, advertising, social media classes, and they're offered concurrently. They're all the time, and you get certifications and everything like that. Universities have them as well. So if you're specifically want to, focus on fashion, go and take a course. This all happened in 5 or 6 years. Some, a lot of it, comes from just, 25 years of working in the corporate space. It just came with time and me front-facing people. But if I ever wanted to niche down and get specific to an industry or something like that, I took a class. And I spoke to people that were from those particular industries. What are some of your obstacles? I just had a consultation call with a sister that is in fashion. Again, foundation of business is the same. The specifics are, I need to go specifically to this, particular school or take this particular class. Okay, right? Okay, that's okay. Okay, you need this, you need this, you need this. And from speaking to this sister, I gained some resources that I can give to the next person that I speak to that is coming from the fashion industry. So I actually have 2 clients that are in the fashion industry right now. So I learn from them every single day just by being their coach. We get on a call and they tell me about something that's happening, or they tell me these are the colors that are trending for the season. You're just learning as you go. And so I love that you brought up this question, Sister Fatine, because, we may think that we have to have all of this figured out all at once, and that somehow Halimah had all of this knowledge that she's giving in this class all at once. No, this came from time. This came from me going over here. This came from me doing this. I teach a class for learning how to write your first book. You know where that came from? I went to 3 different writing classes and I learned the information. But you know where the bulk of the information about writing a book, marketing a book, selling a book came from? Lived experience.
Yes.
Lived experience. When I wrote Jenna's First Hijab, this happened and it was successful. But I had so much more wisdom when Not Without My Hijab came out. And I really and truly understood how a book can up-level my business. That's whether it's an ebook or a physical book. Another $1 million, tip that I'm giving you is write a book. Write a book that surrounds your business. And don't write the book for where you are right now. Write the book for where you're going. And so maybe for you, Fatine, I'm going to say like fashion, right? So this is essentially like fashion that you're doing. Here's a great book. The Way She Wears It. So you talk about how did I understand fashion? I actually went on Amazon and I bought this book because I wanted to understand colors. I wanted to understand, okay, well, why do you choose this color in summer? I wanted to understand, okay, like this is what the book is amazing. Okay, why does she pair this with this? It has add a pop of poppy. So talking about, how to match colors and all of that kind of stuff. This book was amazing for that. And this helped me to help the business to market. So to understand, okay, this is how these colors play into one another. When they're posting a picture on their social media page, I would have never thought to just show the hands and the shoes and the pants. I'm like, well, where's the rest of the lady, right? But in fashion, we're showcasing whatever the focus is, right? So that's where that came from. Talking about the shape of clothes, all that kind of stuff. I didn't know any of that before I took on my first fashion client. So in answer to your question, Sister Fatine, is to, as you go, make sure every single month so we talk about spiritual development, right? So we talk about Islam and making sure we're honing our skills, we're reciting the Quran, we're doing all those things, going to different things. You're going to do that in the other areas of your life too. You're going to do that in your business development too. So every single month, what are you learning specifically that has to do with your business? If you're just starting out and you don't have the fulus, you don't have the money, the cash, right, to spend on, a retreat or a program, YouTube University and Google College, right, as they say, right? Get right on there and start watching videos. YouTube is amazing because YouTube, you could just type in, how to run a successful, what are you calling your business? Is it like consignment?
It's called American Butterfly.
Okay, American Butterfly, but like your industry, is it like new fashion, or is it like?
No, it's a personal, like a salesperson, like a personal shopping person.
Stylist. Got it. Okay. This is a perfect book for you. Even more. this kind of goes into that. So you can go on to YouTube if you haven't already, and you can type in, you know, personal stylist or a personal shopper, right? And, you know, how do I build my personal stylist or personal shopper business? Literally type it in, go watch those videos. And maybe you don't take everything that the person comes on and talks about, but maybe you, you know, take some of the things and move on to the next video. All right.
Yes, thank you so much.
You're welcome. And I do have some books that I want to give you. I did prepare them, and especially for Dr. Selma, these are specific to, you know, processes and procedures, all 4 of these books. You guys ready?
We're ready.
The first one is Build a Business That Runs Without You. Let me know when you have that. Good. All right. The next one you've probably heard of, 4-Hour Work Week. That one is actually one of my all-time faves to recommend to business owners. And 4-Hour Work Week is really about when you put the right processes and procedures in place, you end up working less. All right. Work the System. And then the next one is Built to Sell. All right, I would recommend those books and read them. You know yourself, so you know which one speaks more to you, where you are in your business, or where you see yourself in the next 3 to 6 months. All right. Yeah, that's all I have.
Alhamdulillah.
Can I ask a quick last question?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
About legal implications with some of these policies and procedures. At what point or when should we get them involved just to protect ourselves?
From the beginning.
Okay. So as soon as you develop them, get somebody, how do you know who's qualified?
There is a sister. She is also on Instagram. I have to remember her name. She's a great place to start. If she doesn't have the answer for you, she'll recommend you. And she's Muslim too. So
awesome.
Let me get her name for you. Okay, her name is Yasmin, and her IG is called Coaches and Company. And she's a lawyer. And then she helps with different contracts and templates. So she'll help you. So basically what I would do is I would DM her and just say, hey, I am starting, a Muslim youth development program. And I want to make sure that I'm ahead of the curve with my policies. Is that something that you can help me with, or can you direct me to someone that can help me with those, with developing my policies for my business, inshallah.
Awesome. Jazakallah khair.
Totally she's excellent. She actually helped me. So I've used her before. So she helped me with she actually helped me with a contract, not necessarily on the policy.
Awesome. Jazakallah khair. Yeah, I'm joining Fatin. Yeah.
And I think Sister Adrian, she's putting the books in the chat. If you want to just copy and paste. If you don't necessarily have time to read a physical book, some of you may have heard of this already, but Audible is a great resource, and you can just listen to the books in your ear. When I was first starting my business, I didn't have time to sit down and read a book. So, on my drive to work, anytime I was in the car, I was listening to a new book.
I was going to ask that if any of these are available on
All of them.
because I really, although my last name is Reed, R-E-I-D, if I could do without it, ooh, could I just like get it by osmosis? I'm glad that these are available by audio.
Yeah, Allah. All on Audible. You can get them all on Audible.
Wow. Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khair, Sister Halimah.
But yeah.
As you see, we don't want to let you go. We do not want to let you go. It's just a wonderful experience. But before we close out, I just want to remind everyone that Sister Sadaf sent a feedback link. There's a form. If everyone can fill that form out, like click the link when you get a chance, fill it out, and just to offer some feedback from today's session. Sister Sadaf had to go. She has another another meeting to prepare for. But as she said, she was excited about it. Lots of homework that she has from this class, from this session. So as we all do, we have work to do. But Sister Halimah, before we go, Rafia or Khadija, if you guys are still on, Arshina, she wasn't able to make it. She had death in the family in Guyana, so she had to go. She's one of the committee members of the Boss Women. So we will continue to make dua for her family and her, and may Allah, forgive her sins, have mercy on her aunt, and grant her aunt Jannah. Ameen.
Ameen.
But with that being said, really, if Sister Halimah, she's on Instagram, she's on Facebook, she is on all of those channels that she's listed. So she is available to you. I would encourage you all to make sure you follow her if you're not following her already. She does give you these daily doses of wisdom. And sometimes it's, may not be in this kind of format, but there is not a day that goes by where you can't follow her or she's posting something where you are not getting great information. So please make sure that you follow her, just to keep this momentum that you have going on, this drive that you have right now from this class. It is there for you, inshallah. It's there, and we're all here, as sisters, to continue to help each other. But she is there, she's available. So ladies, I would highly encourage you that as she posts often like that, put your notifications on so that you are in the loop and in the know of, when she has something. Yes, and she dropped her handle right there in the chat, alhamdulillah. So don't forget to visit her website. There's lots of information there. You can shop on there. There's so much on there that you just don't want to pass by. So just remember, if there's anything you need, of course, we'll see you in another 2 weeks for the next class. But don't forget to fill out that form. I definitely like to share some of the feedback with Sister Halimah too, just so she knows how we feel about this session and with her presence here too, and inshallah. So
real quick, there was something I said earlier that I did something intentionally when I came on this class. So I wanted to make sure that we covered that. So I gave my website, www.halimahdeoliveira.com. So somebody go over to my website and tell me if they noticed something that I did intentionally today.
The dress. Because I knew that pattern. I was like, wait a minute. It's not the same colors. It's just the same pattern. I'll be watching.
It's the same dress, actually. Same hijab, same dress. Maybe lighting looks different.
Okay.
Maybe lighting just looks different. You're always on. You're always marketing. And there's always an opportunity for you to be remembered. Because somebody's going to be like, I've seen that hijab and dress combination before. Where have I seen it? On my website.
You know what drew me to you? I've been following you on Instagram for a while now. was the fact that I knew that you and I used the same designer. Because that pink dress, that the hooded pink dress that you wear, I have that same dress minus the hood. And I was like, boom, that's my tribe right there. I think I know we communicated one time about the dresses, and I was like, oh, I've been on a boat in higher fashions. I've been on a everywhere in higher fashions.
Listen.
So yeah, always memorable, always on, and that definitely drove home the point. You always, that's why I didn't turn my camera on, because I'm taking stuff down, doing stuff, and I don't want nobody to be like, sis, what happened?
Well, that was the last lesson. I promised you that I would give you that last lesson. So Jazakallah khair for having me. Absolute pleasure. I'm full. I am full from being here, and may Allah grant you all tawfiq. May you be able to manifest every single goal that you have for your business and beyond. And, you know, just remember that your business also manifests the things that you want to do in your life personally. They are attached to each other. So Jazakallah khair.
I mean, with that being said, that is the closing right there. I mean. I'm just going to close it out with Surah Al-Asr. Again, Jazakallah khair, Sister Halimah, and Jazakallah khair for everyone that's on. And may Allah continue to bless us all. Inshallah, ameen. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.